Handoff, Elliott coming right, pushing, goal line, bangs in. Touchdown, Elliott.
Nobody's having more fun than these guys. Join the party and pregame with Front Yard Fantasy on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network. It is week 11, baby. I'm your host, Simon, here with my co-hosts, John, Luke, and Joey. What's up, boys?
What up?
What's going on? Excited.
Nothing much. There's a whole bunch of football going on today, guys, and a little bit to update on. So before we get into anything else, I want to make sure we're running through this week 11. Shout out to Ravens, Bills, and Cowboys Radio for the calls on that introduction right there. But guys, we're going to get straight into it. First and foremost, we're going to start with some bad news. Cooper Kupp is set to miss 6 to 8 weeks after that ankle surgery, which unless the Rams go undefeated down the stretch here, probably not coming back for fantasy football at all.
Or if they extend the NFL season this year, mid-season.
Or if
those
they
two cases.
extend the NFL season. You think, what are the percentage chances of that happening, Joe, do you think?
1?
Okay,
yep,
so there's
1%.
a 1% chance you'll get Cooper Kupp back this year, according to Jay. I'll take it to the bank.
More than 0, less than 100, as I heard
There
a
you
wise
go.
man once say.
Yes, that was a wise man that I said to Joey right before the show.
Odell Beckham Jr. has announced that he's going to make a decision on his new team after Thanksgiving. He plans to visit the Cowboys and the Giants. So Cowboys and Giants fans get excited. There may be a new receiver coming in town. There is no quarterback change going on in Washington. So Taylor Heineke has earned that starting job, and until his play necessitates otherwise, he is going to remain the starter for the Commanders. On the Broncos side of the ball over here, head coach Nathaniel Hackett has given up play calling duties to quarterbacks coach Clint Kubiak. So I know Vikings fans are having some flashbacks over here with Kubiak calling plays, but we'll see if that sparks this offense life, because nothing else so far has yet this year. And then Justin Jefferson is dealing with turf toe, but says it is no problem. Says he's a full go, ready to go this week. So if you've got Justin Jefferson, he's telling you that you do not have to worry. We've got a couple other players returning to action. Matthew Stafford is coming back this week, and Mike Williams is fully expected to play tonight. And Keenan Allen says he hopes he will play tonight, that he's planning on it, but ultimately it comes down to the coaches. But the Chargers could get their big 2 wide receivers back just in time for that Sunday night football matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs tonight. So that'd be exciting if we get them at full force, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I want to see that both those offenses just unlock, just let loose.
Absolutely. Guys, a bunch of players on IR, a couple we've already mentioned, or out injured this week that I want to make sure you don't have in your lineups. Cooper Kupp, like we mentioned, is out. Jamar Chase still out, but we got some positive news that it's looking like he could make his return soon. He's off of crutches as of this morning. PJ Walker will not be starting for the Panthers. You got Baker Mayfield in there instead. And then JD McKissick is on season-ending IR injury. The Chiefs wide receiver core, on the other hand, compared to the Chargers, is a little banged up. You got Juju Smith-Schuster and both Mecole Hardman out. Neither one will be playing this week. And then, guys, as always, the bye teams, you got to make sure those players are out of your lineup. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all on bye this week. Joey, your team's on bye this week.
Yes.
Do you prefer the weeks where your team is on bye? Like, do you enjoy getting to watch the games without, like, fandom being there? Or do you miss it on Sundays when your team's not on bye?
I'm watching so much these days that when I get a week off, I'm actually a little relieved because I don't feel like I need to check in on the Bucks as much, especially with the World Cup starting this week, because I'm a big World Cup fan of England. So I'm glad the Bucks are on bye, so I can actually watch some matches this week.
Yeah, JL, do you like when your team's on bye, or would you prefer your team to be playing? You get a little heart attack every time the Ravens play, I think.
No, I don't. I mean, the Ravens are just fun to watch. They're incredibly fun team to watch. But I don't know. I'm just a football fan. I like watching all the teams.
Guys, we got some people in the chat this Sunday morning ready for today's show. Tommy in here says, yo, it's Sunday. Let's go. What's up, Tommy? Welcome in. And Maria in the chat as well with the ho, ho, ho. I guess it's Christmas season now.
It is.
We got Better Boss in here saying, hey, let's have a great game day, man. Everyone's just rhyming in the chat today. Al, what's up?
Commanders.
Welcome in. And then Nick Durst had a question related to that OBJ news that we just put in the chat. says, does the winner of Cowboys versus Giants on Thanksgiving get Odell Beckham Jr.?
I like that thinking. This is what the NFL needs to do, because another step,
More
put something
games.
else on the line. Nobody wants a turkey leg. Let's put Odell on the line. Like it.
Let's put Odell on the line.
Yeah.
We got Albert in the chat over on YouTube saying, good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Good
Albert.
morning,
Glad
Albert.
to have you in here. And J-Wall in here saying, you
J-Wall's
got to
awake.
start Tony this week. So
Absolutely.
Kadarius Toney. So with Juju and Mecole out, Joey, do you agree with J-Wall here that Kadarius Toney is a must-start play?
100% agree with J-Wall. He's a top 20 wide receiver for me, and I'm probably low having him at 20. I love Tony this week.
J-Wall, are you in on Kadarius Toney this week?
Yeah, if you're going to be in on Kadarius Toney, it's got to be this week. The opportunity is good for him. His snap share is increasing. Mecole Hardman being out, Juju, as well. The Kadarius Toney, this is the week to start him, and I'm looking forward to what he does the rest of the season. I think they're going to keep working him into this offense.
I'm a little bit more nervous, but that being said, I'm more excited than I am nervous, and so I'm playing Toney in most leagues where I have him. He did only see 45% of the snaps last week, even with Mecole Hardman out and Juju Smith-Schuster exiting that game pretty early. That being said, it could be multiple things. Maybe it's like JL said, they're still working him into this offense, and he's working his way up on the snap share, and we could see that continue to rise. Or they're just designing set plays for him, and that's just the amount of snaps he's going to play regardless. That being said, dude is exciting. With those two wide receivers out, I think you got to start him. Dennis in here had a question for us. Wanted to know, half PPR start 3. Dameon Pierce, Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins, Gabe Davis, and Tyler Boyd. So 3 of those players need to enter the lineup. Joey, I know you love Dameon Pierce. You smiled as soon as I said his name.
I should have worn my shirt. I'll put my shirt on at some point today. Yeah, it's going to be Dameon Pierce. It was the first 3 off the top. And Amon-Ra St. Brown. And who was the third one?
T. Higgins.
And T. Higgins. Yeah, those are the 3 for me. I do like Gabe Davis. He's just a little below those 3 guys.
Dale, are you agreeing here that it would be those same 3 guys for you?
Yeah,
Those
three stand out.
Yeah. I don't mind the other 2 plays. Like, they're good plays. That's a great problem to have, Dennis.
It's a tough matchup for Dameon Pierce today, but last week was a tough matchup for Dameon Pierce, and he showed out last week with over 100 yards rushing, or over 100 total yards. So, yeah, I like over Dameon Pierce even with a tough matchup.
Dennis also wanted to know, should he stream the Cincinnati defense or the Washington defense this week? So the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Washington going up against the Houston Texans. Joey, which of those 2 defenses would you be plugging into your lineup?
I'm going to go Cincinnati. I don't think this Pittsburgh offense is clicking like the Pittsburgh offenses of old. So I would rather play Cincinnati. Their defense actually looked pretty well this season. So that's for me.
Yeah, what about you? Are you agreeing with Joey here?
Yeah, this one's a little closer. I do like Washington against Houston. That's a plus matchup for them. I do lean the Bengals here, though, going against Pittsburgh. They're very close, back-to-back in my rankings. So
make it a sweep. Give me the Bengals as well. But it is close. Shh, man, I hate sweeping. It just never quite works, does it?
No.
You know what?
I take it back. The chores.
I take it back. I got a broom off Amazon that was a game changer, like truly changed the game. I'll send you guys a link. It's cheap, and you've never used a broom like this one, I promise. Broom talk, is that what we're here for?
That's what we're here for. Broom talk every week, week in, week out, baby. We got Dame in the chat, said, hi, friends. What up, Dame? Good morning.
Dame,
good to see you in here.
What's up, Dame?
Spooky season's questions in the chat. So what is the news on Greg Everett? Is he playing? I'm guessing Gerald Everett, he meant. Greg Everett.
I kind of like Greg. Greg Everett.
Greg Everett. Have you guys heard anything on Gerald Everett, the tight end for the Chargers?
Last I saw was an update yesterday that he was questionable, but I don't know if I've seen an update from that. Joey, do you have more info?
No, you're seeing a lot of the news coming out that Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are both want to play and most likely will play this week. And if Greg Everett is questionable this week, there's a chance he might sit because of that. Everett. So I would look for other options at the tight end position if you can.
We got Albert in the chat. So good morning, Albert. Good morning. Dennis
Albert.
Said half PPR start. Oh, we already got that one. Sorry.
We hit that one.
To it. We did not hit this one though. This last one, fan first asked Gibson or Foreman PPR.
Man, that's tough.
That is tough because Gibson's mashup is so good. But we just saw Brian Robinson get 26 carries in this offense last week. Antonio Gibson just got the scraps of whatever they didn't give to Brian Robinson. And it's a tough matchup for Foreman. And I'm going Gibson here. I think this is where I go Gibson. Last time we saw the Panthers get down big, right? They were down 35 to the Bengals. Foreman didn't do anything. They just abandoned the run. Foreman's not good enough that they're just going to hand him the ball when they're down big. And I think they're going to be down big in this matchup. So I'll go Gibson.
What about you, Joey?
I've got Donta Foreman as my RB20, Antonio Gibson as my RB21. So they are literally back. I love when this happens. They're back to back my rankings. With that wind advisory going on there in Baltimore and Foreman getting what
windy.
Was it?
I just got in from outside. It is windy and cold. Let me tell you.
And what do you have? 31 carries last week. I expect them to be down, but I expect Foreman to get enough work today. Because you can't rely on Baker Mayfield's arm if you want to try to win a game.
Yeah, especially if there's any amount of wind, it's probably just gonna make it even worse.
Dead ducks flying through the air all day.
He's having a hard enough time in still air.
Still in a vacuum.
Baker Mayfield. Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say I think Baker Mayfield's the most disappointing player for me this year in fantasy. I was really expecting him to have a good season in Carolina.
You have no idea how many leagues were in the 13th round. I was like, you idiots letting me pick him up here. Like, you fools allowing me to grab my QB2 in the 13th round. And that didn't work out. That did not work out at all this year.
It should have.
Here, right? It made sense.
Honestly, I think the process was semi-right. I still don't think that Baker's just bad, not talented. Matt Rule was fired. His head coach was fired mid-season. There's, and it sounds like he's still dealing with injury and stuff like that too, but definitely disappointing. I whiffed on that too this year.
Will this be our first Baker game without Matt Rule, or did he have one after the firing?
I don't think so. I think this is the first one
there.
I think it was Peach.
Yeah, I think it's Peach until now.
Peach came out and lit it up as soon as Matt.
PJ Walker, if you don't know who Peach is.
Sorry.
Nick in here had a question for us, guys. He said, is it good to be all in on Slayton versus the Lions this week, or will the Giants look to slow down the Lions offense by running Barkley 35 times again? JL, do you think this is going to be a run-heavy game script, or do you think Slayton's a startable option? And I guess both could be true.
Yeah, both could absolutely be true. I don't mind Darius Slayton this week going up against the Detroit defense. Like you said, I think that he is a solid option. We've seen Detroit give up they're like a top team in giving up points to the wide receiver position. He's a solid play. I'd expect wide receiver 3 numbers or 4 numbers in between that area. I'd be flexing him, not running to my line to go throw Darius Slayton in if I don't need to. But he's absolutely a flexible player this week.
Joey, what about you? Do you think this is going to be a run-heavy game script, or do you think Slayton's a startable guy?
I think both are going to happen. I really do, because we've seen both happen against Detroit this season. And I have Darius Slayton as my wide receiver 26. I would start him over Garrett Wilson, Allen Robinson, and Paris Campbell. I really like him today. He's not necessarily wide receiver 2, but he's borderline. He's right there. So I look for Slayton to have a good game. But, this is going to be the Saquon Barkley game. He's going to really show out today against Detroit. That's what I'm expecting.
I'm happy for Slayton. But man, I really thought Wan'Dale Robinson was going to be a thing. Whenever they started getting him going, I was like, oh boy, here comes the next breakout rookie wide receiver. Dude's going to be a wide receiver 1 over the back half of the season. And nope, it's the Darius Slayton show apparently there. I think this is going to be a Barkley game. This is going to be just an unreal Barkley game. If Slayton gets the touchdown, you're happy about it. But we're going to see some crazy numbers out of Saquon today. He's my top RB on the week in this matchup. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty excited to watch it.
Absolutely.
Another running back going against a pretty bad defense that I didn't mention today, guys. JL, this was on the Baltimore Ravens. Gus Edwards, while yesterday looked like he was trending towards playing, we got an update that he is likely not going to be playing this week. So I think it's more Kenyon Drake. You think you can start Kenyon Drake again against this Panthers team?
Absolutely. Yeah. Without Gus Edwards there, Kenyon Drake, he's going to get the bulk of the work here. Kenyon Drake has looked decent. He's looked decent on this offense. He's produced fantasy points, and a lot of the concern over the last couple weeks has just been Gus Edwards coming back. So get that out of here. You don't have to worry about it. And the fact that it's windy and cold might end up getting, and it's a good matchup for Baltimore. You might end up getting a Kenyon Drake game script positive type of matchup.
Yeah, Joey, do you think Kenyon Drake is a plus play this week with Gus Edwards not coming back?
Yeah, with you guys giving me that Gus Edwards news, I was in bed sick yesterday. I didn't get that news, so I just moved Kenyon Drake up to running back 20, and on the break, I'm gonna just look into that a little bit more. But I like him over Brian Robinson, Cordell Patterson, even Najee, who's apparently going to get a large workload today, according to the Pittsburgh beat writers.
Who will get a large workload today?
Najee Harris.
Checks out. I got scared for a second that you said Jalen Warren. I was like, I did not see that report that he was going to get all that work.
I see Better Boss in the chat said, we know Drake is going to let us down. It's just a matter of when. With expectations sky high, this should be the day.
No.
Yeah, can't blame you, Matt. Can't blame you for that one. Kenyon Drake, yeah, he is we got trust issues. We got trust issues with Kenyon Drake, but the matchup is so good, so juicy. Carolina Panthers giving up the 28th most points to fantasy. I don't know, I said that right. Third most points. There we go. Third most points to fantasy running backs. Why is that so tricky to say?
It's
every time.
Every time.
Better Boss said exactly. Exactly. I love that, man.
He was easier than EX. Exactly.
Let's get that added to the dictionary. Exactly.
It makes sense.
Man, I'm adding that to the repertoire.
Kenyon Drake has done that multiple times, though, right? Like when he was in Arizona and we were like, oh, shoot, like he's going to be great. Like in the work we saw, he's fantastic. He gets the full job, nothing. And then in Las Vegas, we're like, oh, shoot, he's going to do it again. Kenyon Drake, like he's getting this opportunity and then nothing.
It was that thing with the Miami Dolphins running backs that were good in that short little game period. And then they'd go somewhere else and people would get so excited. It happened with Lamar Miller, Kenyon Drake. There's others I'm not even thinking of, but yeah, like it was like a thing.
Ajayi, wasn't he a Dolphins running back? Or somewhere else, and people thought it was going to happen. Guys, we had a question come in here from Jacob. Jacob wanted to get this one answered before the game starts today. He says, "I need one running back and one flex in PPR."
Okay, let's help you.
And that's topical. Kenyon Drake's one of the options. He's got Tyler Boyd, Kenyon Drake with Gus out, and then Cordero Patterson and DeAndre Swift. So needs to start two of those players, and since there's only one wide receiver listed, just start two of them. One running back and one flex. JL, who you plugging in?
So I'm not gonna start Drake here. I'm gonna lock in Swift. If he's playing, I'm playing him. I'm putting him in my lineup. And then between Boyd and Patterson, that is tough. Boyd has Pittsburgh. Let's see who Patterson's playing Chicago, right?
Patterson is playing Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't make that mistake. Carolina made that mistake earlier this week. Between those two guys, I would go Tyler Boyd. Jamar Chase still being out. Tyler Boyd is the wide receiver 2 on that team. Pittsburgh's given up the most points to fantasy wide receivers so far this season. It's a good matchup for Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd and
Swift.
And Kenyon. Oh, Swift over Kenyon Drake for you. Joey, what about you? Who are you throwing in this lineup?
I'm going to agree with JL on Boyd. But I would play Kenyon Drake over Swift. I want to see it from Swift. For a week. I really do, because he's really trying to come back from this injury. And as far as Patterson goes, I think Tyler Algier might be starting to take some of the work, if not some of the work, all the work from him. He was listed as a kick returner on their depth chart today.
And you would start Boyd over Swift as well?
Yes. So
Gotcha.
I like Boyd and Drake, but we agree on Boyd. So let's be excited that we agree.
I'm with you, Joey. We all agree on Boyd. It's going to be Boyd and Drake for me. I'm nervous about Swift. He was one of those players where I was saying, like if he's playing, you play him. But the past couple of weeks, that hasn't worked out. They are truly just taking it easy, easing him back into this offense from that injury. It's clearly still bothering him. And they've got not just the serviceable, but a great running back in Jamal Williams that can handle that workload if Swift's not ready. So I think I'd rather miss out on that first game where he gets all the work than be the one sitting there again with DeAndre Swift with 5 carries in my lineup.
Completely agree with you, Simon. I think this is the way I make these decisions of fantasy is dependent on my team. So if I'm looking at my matchup and I'm thinking I need this upside, I need a guy like Swift to come in and perform, then I'm going to throw him in there and take the risk heavier side rather than going like a Kenyon Drake or a Patterson where it's a little less risk, but a little less upside as well. And you just got to figure out what is the right strategy for your team and your matchup this week.
I agree with that. Swift. It's funny. Swift was a player that I went out and made a couple deals for this week. If my teams, I was out of the playoff hunt. He was somebody I went out and got this week because I see that he's going to have a great year next year in Dynasty, I should say.
Yeah, I don't mind making those moves for DeAndre Swift right now, especially if you're on a non-competitive team, because we don't know whenever he's going to be fully back up to speed. Damon here says got a juicy one for you.
Let's get juicy, Dame.
Juicy on a Sunday morning.
Mm.
Deion Jackson or Nyheim Hines in tiered PPR. So for those who have never played in a tiered PPR, it's different by position. So wide receivers maybe 1, running backs maybe 0.5, and tight ends maybe 1.75 or 1.5. Different tiered leagues have different, but they change it based on the position to change the value of the receptions for each. Joey, Deion Jackson or Nyheim Hines, which one would you be plugging into your lineup this week?
Man, I'll tell you what. Juicy is my favorite Notorious B.I.G. song, but it's going to be Nyheim Hines for me between these two. I don't necessarily like either as an option, but I'm guessing this is a pretty deep league there, Dame. So I'd go Hines just for the upside.
John Luke, are you agreeing with Joey here, or would you plug in the backup Mr. Deion Jackson for Jonathan Taylor?
I'm agreeing with Joey here. The upside for Nyheim Hines and this really good matchup against Cleveland gives him the little edge. The little edge.
A little edge. Yeah, it's Nyheim Hines for me. And also Dame said this is actually tiered based on distance. So the PPR changes based on the distance of the reception. Does that change your answer at all? Deion Jackson for Nyheim Hines or not at all?
No, not really. They're both not going to probably see like a ton of deep receiving work. So, yeah.
Zach, and you had a question for us. Said Higgins or Jacobs for flex full PPR. That's a hot question, Zach. T. Higgins or Josh Jacobs in that flex spot full PPR.
You have to choose.
You got to choose, apparently. You can't fit both of them in there, Zach.
Can't you play both, Zach?
How the hell
Zach,
can't you get those
What's
in
your
there?
lineup, Zach? This is
well,
Zach,
just send us your entire league.
Look me in the eyes. Tell me you don't have someone worse in your flex. Like, I just don't believe you. And if you do, congratulations on your fantastic team. But JL, you have to pick. You have to pick. You've got Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, and Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor filling all the other spots on your team. And so you have to pick between Jacobs and Higgins. Which one's taking that last spot on your roster?
This is incredibly difficult. The reason why it's incredibly difficult is because typically if you have two players who are everything else really is equal in terms of like, okay, they both have the same sort of floor and upside here. And it's a running back and wide receiver. Typically, I like to tend towards the running back because it's just a little bit safer. But this matchup, Josh Jacobs, the running back, has a tougher matchup going against Denver. T. Higgins has a very good matchup going against Pittsburgh, who's given up the most points to the fantasy football to the wide receiver. I'm going to go T. Higgins here. That's going to be the tiebreaker.
JL, I'm with you. And it hurts not plugging Josh Jacobs in here. Dude's getting all of the work. But this is such a tough matchup. And don't hear what I'm not saying. You can start Josh Jacobs this week. You absolutely can. This dude's just in a rare situation where he's got a player good enough that Josh Jacobs can find his way to the bench. So I'm going to go T. Higgins as well. That matchup is juicy, as Dave
Either way,
said.
they're top 10 at their positions, respectively. So
both of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Joey, who are you plugging in?
Oh, it's T. Higgins for me. And it's a tough decision for me, but I'm a little worried about the matchup with Josh Jacobs today against Denver. And Higgins, I'm not worried about his matchup at all.
Joe, you should just answer T. Higgins start sit questions like this. Just throw the hand. Oh,
damn it.
And if we're being honest, I 100% intended to point at the Amari Cooper jersey. I'm just lucky that there's a jersey on each side right there. That was not.
Let's see, Simon, up over here. Today, Amari Cooper or DJ Moore?
Play them both. It is very clearly Amari Cooper. Moore. It's without a doubt Amari Cooper this week. For me. What about you, Joey? Would it be Amari Cooper or DJ Moore with Baker Mayfield throwing him the ball?
I don't have anything to point to.
You're right.
Let's see. So it'd be Amari Cooper for me.
Also, Craig in here had a question for us, a defensive question. Craig, he needs two of Jack Sanborn, Ernest Jones, Bobby Okereke, and Quincy Williams.
Oh, Quincy Williams is definitely in my lineup.
Yeah, go Quincy.
I'm gonna be real, Craig. I don't know. You are much better of an IDP player than I am. So I'm going to trust your judgment on the IDP plays.
Craig's just mad at me because I fell asleep during wrestling. We were chatting, watching wrestling.
You guys are wrestling?
No, we were watching wrestling last night. And I fell asleep during it. And at like 12:30, sent him a message. Sorry, I fell asleep. Sorry, Craig.
Wow, wrestling. Guys, we had some more questions come in here. Martin said start 3. Deonta Foreman, Damian Harris, Jamal Williams, and Michael Carter. So
Najee
those 4
Harris?
players needs to bench. Oh, it could be Najee Harris. That makes a lot more sense. Though Harris is going to be back this week. Damian Harris.
Yeah,
Give me
Damian
those
Harris
names
is
again.
back.
Deonta Foreman, Najee Harris, Jamal Williams, and Michael Carter. So one of those guys needs to hit the bench. 3 of them are going to be starting.
Can
Carter's
we agree
gonna
on
hit the
Jamal?
bench for me. Yeah, we agree on Jamal playing.
And then I think I might go Carter over Damian Harris, but I would start
What do-
Najee.
If it's Najee, you would start Najee.
If it's Najee, I'd go Najee. Yeah.
Full agreement with JL.
Same here. No, needs to bench
No,
one.
it's
So
3.
there's 4 players. One of them needs to hit the bench.
Yeah. Be benching Harris. The
If
Jets
it's
matchup for the Patriots isn't fantastic, and Ramondre Stevenson is still there.
Yep.
There's just not enough upside there for Harris. Damian
And if
Harris. Sorry.
And if it's Najee Harris, bench Michael Carter. I think we're all in agreement
Yep.
there. Aiden had a question for us that have a pretty tough start
No.
sit today. Start 3.
Okay.
DeAndre Swift, Mike Williams, Cortland Sutton, Kadarius Toney, and Isaiah Pacheco, full PPR. So he needs to plug 3 of those players, and you got a couple players coming back from injury or dealing with one in DeAndre Swift, Mike Williams, first week back from injury, and then 2 recent breakouts for the Chiefs, Kadarius Toney and Isaiah Pacheco, and then you mix a little Cortland Sutton in there as well. Joey, which 3 would you be starting?
So I really like Cortland Sutton this week with Jerry Jeudy out against Las Vegas. Like, I think that's a really good matchup for Cortland Sutton. He's going to show out. And then, listen, I really want to play Isaiah Pacheco, but I'm actually going to sit him for your options here. But it's going to be Mike Williams and, and Sutton and Kadarius Toney. Like, I really like Kadarius Toney this week.
Which one? How many are we starting here?
3 of
3.
them.
Start 3 of them. Yeah, Sutton. Which 3 did you say, Joey?
I said Williams, Sutton, and Toney.
Williams, Sutton, Toney. I don't mind that. I think I would throw Pacheco in there instead of if you're worried about the Mike Williams injury, I'm okay throwing like a Pacheco in there, or even if you're worried about Kadarius Toney, like they're close enough. I'm fine throwing those guys in there.
Oh, and this is because Kansas City and Chargers play each other, correct?
Yes, I
tonight.
do.
Which that's great because if Mike Williams sits, you can plug Pacheco right in. Woo,
That's a
I
good
love
point.
it.
Yeah, it's a really good matchup for Pacheco. He's giving up, or
I'm
the
pumped for you.
Chargers are giving up the second most points to the running back.
Yeah.
We got
Oh,
Lucius in here saying right before the trade deadline ended, someone traded me Tyreek for Higgins and Devonta Smith. My team was already 10-0, so I've been spending my morning watching people cry on a thread. Good trade, my man. Trade away some
Nice.
depth, got
Lucius.
Tyreek Hill in return. I think it's fair enough. Tell your league mates to get over it because that trade's
Yeah,
fair. You made a big
That's
boy
how you
trade.
win championships, buddy.
Yeah, just send them like a crying gif.
Yeah. Also, I see Grim fan in there saying Mike Williams is in tonight. Yes, they're saying Mike Williams is expected to play tonight. I think all Joey is saying is we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's still nice to have a backup plan because we have not yet seen it. And we want to see it.
Yeah.
Good
You wanna
question
see it.
from Ray Gamer. He said start 2 in standard, so non-PPR. Cordero Patterson versus the Bears, Kadarius Toney versus the Chargers, Tyler Boyd versus Steelers, or Deebo Samuel versus the Cardinals. I'm having an extremely difficult time with this decision.
Gotcha, fam.
Joey, which 2 would you be plugging in?
I understand the difficult decision you're having because I'm looking at these options you have, and it's a little difficult for me. But for me, it's going to be Kadarius Toney and Tyler Boyd. I really like both of their matchups today. I think they both will have great games. I'm a little worried about Deebo. With this Christian McCaffrey trade coming through, he's the player that I feel like is going to be affected by it most long term. So I kind of want to see something from Depot before I'm ready to like plug him into my lineups over the 2 options you have today. And Cordell Patterson, I mentioned earlier, I feel like this Atlanta running game is starting to move into a different direction.
John Luke, which 2 are you throwing in out of this bunch? It's got some good options.
He does have some good options here. I'm not as worried about Deebo long term as Joey is. I'm going to start Deebo out of this group. I'm going to start Tyler Boyd out of this group. And how many are you starting? He said 2?
Mhm.
Yeah. Those are the 2 I'd be starting. Wide receivers in a not, he said standard league. Those are 2 I'm going with still.
I'm with you,
Jail.
JL.
Joe, I feel like Tyler Boyd's our player of the day. You
He
and I.
is.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
I
Mutually agree
love
on him.
I
Holding
love
hands with Tyler Boyd.
highlighting a Tyler Boyd day. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Tyler Boyd doesn't get the love that he gets. Today is officially Tyler Boyd Day for everyone listening. Go put on your tiger stripes or something. How do you celebrate Tyler Boyd Day, JL?
You go buy 3 Tyler Boyd jerseys.
I'd wear one. I'd wear the white. I like their white jerseys with the
I'd
white
wear
helmet.
3.
Really, Joey? You like this?
Yeah.
Me too.
Wait, aren't they wearing those today?
I think so.
I hope so.
I think
I
they're
think I
wearing
mentioned-
those.
Yeah, someone was talking about early on our shows earlier.
Yeah. Yes. I just
Have
got
I
so
mentioned
excited.
the joke my daughter told? I let her stay up late to watch Thursday Night Football with me when they wore those jerseys. And I told her all day, we're going to go watch the Bengals. We're going to watch the Bengals. So the game comes on and she goes, Daddy, those bagels have cream cheese on them because they were all white. And she thought it was bagels all day. I've told the story.
Cincinnati
a bunch of times,
cream cheese bagels.
It's very cute. Yeah. Very cute.
Guys, we had another question come in
Yes.
here. Salvador wanted to know thoughts on Kyron Williams and McBride. I got to drop one for the Kansas City defense. So if you had to drop one of Kyron Williams or Trey McBride, who are you dropping, Joey?
I'm dropping Williams. I think McBride's he's a great option this week to play if you need a tight end.
JL, do you agree?
I agree with Joey, yeah.
And then Lucius wanted to know start Duvernay or Zeke. So Zeke is going to be back this week, they're saying, but that Tony Pollard's expected to take a majority of these touches while they ease Zeke back in. He's going to have a brace on. JL, are you going with Devin Duvernay or are you going with Ezekiel Elliott?
I'm going with Zeke. Devin Duvernay he's not the guy. He's not the guy. Maybe this week going against Carolina Panthers, maybe he puts something together. So I'd be okay if you want to go Duvernay over Zeke, but talent-wise, these guys aren't even in the same conversation.
Joseph, do you agree?
Duvernay or
Ezekiel Elliott?
I would go Duvernay.
You're going to go Duvernay?
Yeah.
Guys, coming up, we are going to continue answering your questions. If you got them in the chat, we see them, and we are going to make sure we get to each and every single one of these this morning. We'll keep breaking down these games as well. Make sure everyone's ready for their Week 11 matchups. You're listening to Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network.
Oh, hi. Welcome to Start, Sits, and Salutations. I'm Joey Wright, and today we are at SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida for a day full of my favorite things. And no, I'm not talking about Donta Foreman this week against the Baltimore Ravens, who I absolutely love as a start. I am talking about rehabilitating animals and roller coasters. Say what you will about the ethics of SeaWorld over the last few years, there is nothing more than I can imagine loving than animals that are a little tough to get away from me so that I can give them a great big hug. But that's not all. My cameraman has promised me that today I will fulfill a lifelong dream. So come along. Starts. Excuse me, do you feel that Tua is a true MVP candidate? Pelicans are said to be over 30 million years old. And contrary to popular belief, they actually don't keep food in their pouches or their bills. Speaking of the Bills, one Buffalo Bills player I like this week is Devin Singletary, who has an excellent matchup this week against the Cleveland Browns.
Hey, Joe, those are flamingos.
Since opening their gates in 1976, SeaWorld has rescued and rehabilitated over 1,300 manatees from local rivers, bathhouses, and water parks. No one knows why these men wear their tees in the water, but it's good that SeaWorld is here to extend a helping hand. One player that should be able to help you in your lineups is Denver Broncos tight end Greg Dulcich. He'll look to bounce back against the Las Vegas Raiders team, giving up the 8th most fantasy points to tight ends. I have traveled over 8,500 miles. My goodness, for my exclusive interview with Miami Dolphins wide receiver Jalen Waddle. Jalen, how's it going today? Jalen? Oh, nothing.
I'm in the aquarium. I'm inside the tank.
Who's in and who's out? You're pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back in to the Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network. For those of you just joining us, it is week 11. We are answering your questions and going up until kickoff, doing that and breaking down these games, making sure you guys are ready for your matchups. We've got big news, guys. Mark Andrews is officially active. Will be playing this week. Yeehaw! And I cannot believe that they just randomly plugged in my Chewbacca impression in the middle of that drop right there. No one warned me. No one warned me. All of a sudden we were going to hear, oh, there it is again. Was that the sound? Because I did it at the same time.
I don't know. It's too similar. I couldn't tell. It just sounded like there were two of you.
Just thrown in there. Indistinguishable from the real Chewbacca, I think, guys. Indistinguishable. Also, we got word that Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph will both be active. So recent additions, but they're going to be playing against the Colts today. Quick turnaround, but those guys are ready to go. So adjust your defensive rankings accordingly. And Gus Edwards is officially out as well.
All right.
We did have some more questions here in the chat, guys. Before we get to those, though, I want to remind everyone, if you're listening to us here now, we've got a full day of live game programming here on Better Sports Network. So after you're done listening to us, stick around because there is a live action watch party hangout featuring fans calling in and chatting in real time. From 1 to 5 p.m., it's Better Zone with Corey Parson, Adam Ronis, and Tom Casali. And then from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern time, it's Better Zone with Holden Kushner and John Venezia. So make sure you guys are hanging out here all day. And then tomorrow morning, we're going to be right here, 7 a.m. Eastern time, breaking down all of these games and getting up to our normal Monday shenanigans. You guys ready to answer some more of these questions?
I can't wait.
I started a Q&A in the YouTube chat. This is like a new feature they have, I think. But if you want to ask questions, go throw them in there. You don't have to repeat your old questions because we still got those. But trying that out, we'll see how it works.
John Luke, you want to hit one of these questions while I'm trying to figure out how this new feature works? That you just turned on in the chat.
Should be the same, I think. It's the same.
They're all gone. Everything disappeared for me.
Just
so I'm going to
top, Simon, you flip the little live chat toggle. You got this.
I'll figure it out. You take over for a minute, though.
All right. Shane asking full PPR says Kadarius. Kadarius. Brain says, I see. But Gut says Kadarius. Brain says Deontay. What says you? Beautifully written. I butchered it the first time. Joey, Kadarius Toney or Deontay Johnson this week?
Well, I'm going to go with the options that is biggest on my body, and that's my gut. So I'm going to go Kadarius Toney. Thank God that's not on camera every morning, every day.
Good one. I thought that said, Jail, I found it right as you were going in. Figured it out.
Just about to send you a screenshot.
I figured it out. But I thought it said Gut says Toney, Brian says Deontay. And I was like, who the hell is Brian? And why are you listening to him over your gut?
I know. I thought it was Brian too. Who's Brian?
I've got a friend named Brian. He's pretty nice.
I'm going Kadarius Toney is here as well with both Mecole and Juju out in this game that's supposed to be pretty high scoring. What's the over-under on this game? 52.5 points on this over-under. For tonight's game, give me Kadarius Toney. Plug him in there. I know I've got those nerves, but it's too exciting not to play him, right?
Yeah, I'm with you guys, Tony. We got Scampers and just like, good morning.
Good morning, Scampers.
Scampers forgot his mustache. I did. I killed it right before the show. Grim Fan asking Bears, Raiders, or Commanders defense full PPR, sticking with Saints in the Survivor League. Go MJF and Jamie Hayter. What do you guys think? Bears, Raiders, or Commanders defense?
Yikes. So Bears are going up against the Falcons this week. We got the Raiders going up against Denver, and then the Commanders have Houston, right? So it's probably going to be the Commanders for me against Houston. It's the best matchup and probably the best defense of these three. So that's where I'm going to roll.
Yeah, Commanders are better than the other defenses, and they know it. Shout out MJF and Jamie Hayter. Thank you.
John Luke, which defense are you rolling with?
Yeah, it's Commanders for me as well. Brad in here said, morning. Should I start Swift or DJ Moore? Good morning, Brad. Swift or DJ Moore?
Yikes.
Yeah. Oh.
Yikes. Plug your nose and start DJ Moore. That's where I'm going. They're expected to be like the Ravens are 13-point favorites. Baker's going to have to throw the ball if he wants to get anything done here. I just don't trust Swift with that injury yet, so I'm gonna roll DJ Moore. I'm gonna roll Deej out there.
Going Deej. I guess I go Deej too. I hate that. What about you, Joey?
It's unanimous. It's DJ Moore. I'm just worried about the injury of Swift. I'm not happy about playing DJ Moore though. But
Yeah.
it's these weeks that I'm not happy playing DJ Moore is where he gets his touchdown. So and watch it
Right.
happen.
Martin asked, do you guys think Christian Watson and Fields are league winners?
Christian Watson has 5 touchdowns off of 8 receptions and 14 targets. It's completely unsustainable. He's going to be good. I think he will have more big games, but I don't think he's a league winner. Justin Fields, I think, could be a league winner. Like, he has really tough playoff matchups, but the more I see him play, the more I see how they're using him in this offense, designing these runs for him, and his ability to just create stuff whenever the defense cracks down on him. I think Justin Fields could be that quarterback where in week 4, week 5, if you picked him up, he's the reason that you win that fantasy championship.
When I think of league winners, I think of Peyton Manning on Denver that year, where he just like, as a quarterback, in terms of like league winners that are quarterbacks. I think Justin Fields could be a league winning helper, but I don't know that he's a league winner.
Hey, buddy, you want to help?
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like. Like, I
think he can contribute if all things go his way. Yes.
Joe, you look like you've been holding something in that entire time. Do you think these guys are league winners?
I think that if you've got Christian Watson as your wide receiver 3 or a flex, I think that's a league winner. I'm just really worried about Justin Fields when the playoffs come around, except for the final week when he plays Detroit. Love him that week. But after this week leading up to the playoffs, man, it's tough. It's really tough for Justin Fields. But Simon's brought up that he might have just gotten out of that, not even having to worry about the matchups, that he's such an elite talent now that it might just shine through. So I'll be keeping a close eye on Justin Fields. He will be on my teams that I traded for him to have on. But if there's a better matchup, I might lean towards those matchups in the weeks with Fields. We'll see. A lot can happen.
A lot can happen. Let's rapid fire some of these because we got a lot of questions here, guys. Hartnell down asking David Njoku or Greg Dulcich.
Dulcich.
A win, full PPR. Forgot to add that context.
It's Dulcich for me as well, but I was glad to see Njoku's active today. So that was exciting to see.
Yeah, I'd be fine rolling Njoku out there, but I would also lean Dulcich here. Mm-hmm. Brandon asking, start 1, Pittman, Boyd, Deontay Johnson, or Mike Williams.
Pittman, Boyd, Deontay Johnson, or Mike Williams. Ooh, you got a tough one there. Let's cross Deontay Johnson out. Yeah, Deontay Johnson's not it for me. So Pittman, Boyd, Deontay Johnson, or Mike Williams. Was that the last one, Joe?
Yeah.
Man, you know what? Pittman's a good enough option that I'm tempted to go that way, but I really want to play some Mike Williams if I can. I know he's coming back off injury and you try to avoid it, but in that shootout or expected shootout of a game, he's coming back. Like, I think I roll Mike Williams.
If I knew for sure that Mike Williams is coming back, I would say without a doubt start Mike Williams. I'm just worried that we're going to get to game time and he's going to be a sit. That he's just going to be inactive. So it'd be Tyler Boyd for me. Because I think he's a good enough option that you can just wait a week on Williams. I hate to say that because I think if he Williams plays, man, he could be so great tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joey. I think I would go Boyd. He's the most safe option here. He's the most safe option with, I think, similar upside. Maybe not quite the upside of Mike Williams, but I think he could have a very good game against this matchup.
I'd rather get 15 from Boyd and know I'm going to get that 15 than the possible 20 or a 0 from Mike Williams if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like flipping a coin today.
You do? Just, I mean, at this point, they're close
I'm
enough.
feeling risky today.
All right, let's jump around some of these questions here. If we didn't hit yours or we missed it, throw it in there. There's a lot in there, so there might be something we missed. So just repost them in there for us. Morning, gents, full PPR, start 2, Michael Carter or Elijah Mitchell.
Run through those names one more time.
Singletary, Zeke, Michael Carter, or Elijah Mitchell. Full PPR. You're starting 2.
Singletary's locked in for me. Singletary's the one that stands out. You're definitely playing him. Man, we were told Zeke is going to be limited. Know what I mean? That's not a speculation. They're saying Tony Pollard's going to get more carries. Zeke's going to have a knee brace on. We're easing him back in. It almost makes me want to go Elijah Mitchell after we saw the amount of work that he got last week in that offense. And he looked good. He was running at almost 5 yards a carry with the role he was given. I think I will go Singletary and Elijah Mitchell. What about you guys?
I don't hate that, Simon. I don't hate that at all. Elijah Mitchell, it feels like it could be a trap, the whole Elijah Mitchell thing. Like this week, he just zagged. But the matchup's pretty decent. I could see them and San Francisco, I think, is gonna beat Arizona here. So I would go with you, Simon. I go Singletary and Mitchell.
What about you, Joey? Do you have enough confidence in Zeke to put him in there over Mitchell or Michael Carter?
Wasn't Singletary an option?
Yeah, well, there's two. So I think we're all locking in Singletary, right?
Singletary is my player of the week. I love Devin Singletary again for a second week in a row. And then between Elijah Mitchell and
Michael Carter and Ezekiel Elliott for that third one.
It'll be Elijah Mitchell for me.
Triple Elijah Mitchell. I wasn't expecting us all to agree on that one, but we'll see. I'm excited. That's one of the things I'm looking out for most today is how do they use Elijah Mitchell this week? Does it continue shrinking, or are we going to see a pretty steady workload for him?
Right.
If you're
Joey,
looking for that today, I guarantee you Elijah Mitchell will have nothing today.
Green Screens Media asking Dynasty Superflex win now mode 2023 first, 2024 third for Connor and McLaurin. What do you guys think about that one?
Too much for me. Even if you're in win now mode, to give up a first plus for Connor and McLaurin, I don't know. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I think McLaurin is truly, from a talent perspective, one of the top 10 to 15 wide receivers in the NFL. He's so good. He's had a quarterback problem, but in Dynasty, if you can get him, have him produce this year, then he's still relatively young. I'm fine with it. But that is still a hefty price tag.
What about you, Joey?
It's a little much.
A little much, still a little too much. All right. Evan in here saying, need QB help. Do I start Kirk or do I wait on Kyler? I could pick up Jimmy G or Colt McCoy if Kyler's out. Should I risk it with Kyler? Play it safe with old Greek yogurt, Kirk?
I'm going to have Greek yogurt, and because I'm not sure Kyler is going to play. And I don't want to take that risk.
What about
I'll
you,
roll with
Simon?
Kirk. Kirk's a good enough start that you don't have to take that risk. You can just keep rolling with it.
Yeah, I think that's
that Dallas Minnesota game could end up being the game of the week.
Could be fun.
Exciting.
There's a couple different games on this lineup that I'm excited for today. The Atlanta Chicago game for entirely different reasons, and then that game that we just talked about, the Cowboys Vikings game as well.
Yeah. Let's see. We got some more questions in here. We got Eric in here. Actually, I had another. Judah was first. He said, start Patterson or Najee Harris.
I'll go Najee, given the report that Joey said that Najee was going to see more work this week. I'll roll Najee out there. Joey, you agree?
Yeah, I do. I have them back to back in my rankings. So yeah, it would be Najee for me over Cordell Patterson.
Najee, all right. Yeah, I think it's Najee for me as well. But I like both those guys, and Cordell Patterson could have a pretty good game this week. Joey Felton asking for flex, Rondell Moore, short points, or Mike Williams, questionable but higher ceiling for full PPR. What do you guys think? Mike Williams or Rondell Moore this week?
For me, it's Rondell Moore. I think we saw what he did with last week with Colt McCoy and how he's been with Kyler this year. Even with Hollywood Brown possibly back this week, it'll be Rondell Moore because I don't want to. Actually, you will know if Mike Williams starts. Start Mike Williams. I apologize. I was thinking that we would not see the game time, but we'll know if Mike Williams is starting when you need to make that decision. So if Mike Williams starts, roll Mike Williams out. If he doesn't, you've got your answer.
What about you, Sam?
It's Mike Williams for me as well. Like Joey said, you don't have to make that decision ahead of time. You'll know if he's expected to play. And the more and more Mike Williams questions we get, the more and more I'm talking myself into I just got to play this dude in this matchup. I don't care that he's coming back off injury. You got to play him against the Chiefs tonight.
It's close enough. I would depend it on your matchup. Mike Williams, I agree with what Simon's saying. I would lean Mike Williams in a vacuum, but there's plenty of scenarios where I would shift that and go Rondell Moore if your matchup depends on it.
Shift it.
Grim fan asking Mac Jones, Russell Wilson, Davis Mills. Start 2, half PPR.
Ooh, Mac Jones, Russell Wilson, Davis Mills. Yikes. Having to start 2 of those. I guess Mac Jones is probably the one that's locked in. I don't know. I think I rolled Davis Mills and Mac Jones, and it's gross. What about you, Joey? Are you buying into the Russ revival?
I don't know if I'm buying into the revival. I'm buying into Las Vegas' defense being kooky but water.
Yeah.
It's Russell Wilson's got a good matchup. I don't necessarily believe in the talent, but
yeah,
you
guys
if
are right.
Dulcich is a start and Cortland Sutton's a start, someone's got to throw him the ball. And with the win there, I don't trust Mac Jones. And
I don't trust Mac Jones with no win.
Yeah, exactly. So Davis Mills is, he's QB 21. I'm only starting Davis Mills over maybe Zach Wilson, Andy Dalton. So yeah, it's Russell Wilson pretty easily for me. And then, Davis Mills for me.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, Davis Mills are the 2 ones that stick out to me there. Matisse said, "Good morning, guys.
Hi,
Happy
Matisse.
PR. Pick 2 between Najee Harris, Deonta Foreman, and Rondale Moore."
Najee Harris, Deonta Foreman, and Rondale Moore. I think Deonta Foreman gets the bench for me in this one. Out of like, I'll start Rondale Moore, Najee Harris, and give Deonta Foreman the bench.
I agree.
That is kind of tough though, because I don't mind Deonta Foreman this week. Let's hop around here.
Just
We got
a tough matchup.
Tim in here said Curtis Samuel or James Robinson, half PPR. Curtis Samuel, easy Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel. Yeah.
Curtis Samuel for me as well.
Edward in here says choose one running back, one flex. DJ Moore, Rondale Moore, Brian Robinson, Swift, or Mooney, full PPR. So you're choosing one running back and one flex. DJ Moore, Rondale Moore, Brian Robinson, DeAndre Swift, and Darnell Mooney.
Brian Robinson's in for me in the matchup they have against Houston after he got 26 carries last week. Like, Brian Robinson is the running back that's going in for me. It's tough after that. I like the matchup for Mooney. I like that matchup, but I think I'm going to roll Rondale Moore. I think it's going to be Rondale Moore and Brian Robinson for me.
Are you doing?
Fully agree. Yeah, I thought it was going to be tough to get there, but when I look at my rankings and then I search my heart of hearts, it's Rondale Moore and then Brian Robinson.
I'm with you guys. Jimmy in here asking, should I trade Pitts for Toney? Ooh. Tom, you making that trade? Pitts for Toney?
No.
I think I would.
I'm not.
At this point, I think I would.
The fact you're asking us this question means you've probably got like Greg Dulcich or David Njoku. And if you need a receiver, I think I might do it.
Yeah, I think I might do it. Yeah, that sucks. But I might do it. Let's see. We got Purple Cat in here. Said morning, Purple Cat. Ooh,
morning.
He's got some chat cat competition now. Full PPR. Pick 2. Mike Williams, Miles Sanders, or Kadarius Toney. Locking in Sanders, right?
There's a question. I'm locking in. It's Sanders and Williams for me. And then I'll put Toney has his own risk built in. So it's not risk free to go to the Toney side.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you guys. And Apple said morning. So for my flex, Kadarius Toney, Chris Olave, or Deonta Foreman.
Kadarius Toney, Chris Olave, or Deonta Foreman. I think it's got to be Chris Olave for me.
Yeah. I'm going Olave. Can't move away from him.
Joey, you agree?
I do. It's really close between Olave and Toney. They're like one spot apart.
That's your favorite?
It's Olave. I'm just
triple Olave,
which I haven't seen it much from Olave the last few games. Like, it was really a first half of the season for Olave, and it's the last few weeks have been rough. So
it's been disappointing. I think you still got to roll him out there though.
Yeah, it's still him.
Yeah, that one's tough. Eric in here has a PPR flex. You're flexing 2. Elijah Mitchell, Terrace Marshall Jr., Jahan Dotson, Darius Slayton, or Paris Campbell.
Read those again.
Elijah Mitchell, Terrace Marshall, Jahan Dotson, Darius Slayton, or Paris Campbell.
I'm going to go Slayton and Campbell, personally.
I think I'm going to go Slayton and Campbell as well. I'm tempted to plug in Elijah Mitchell over Slayton here, but I think I'll roll Slayton and Campbell.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. On that one. Dame asks, Penguins or Meerkats?
Penguins.
And Jay Keats said Cousins, Wilson, or Jimmy G. So you guys started Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, or Jimmy Graham. I see Wilson now. I think Garrett Wilson.
They're all in like a group for me, but it's going to be Kirk Cousins above Jimmy G and then Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Greek Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm. Yep, another Kirk answer for me. It's going to be Kirk Cousins.
And George in here saying crucial game this week. Full PPR, Pitts or Njoku? Brutal question.
Pitts. With Njoku coming back off injury and going against the Buffalo Bills, I'll roll out Pitts. It's not with excitement. I want to see Njoku back in that offense, right? This is his first game back from injury, and you have Kyle Pitts. I'll roll Pitts out there. But next week, my answer very well could be different. If it's not the Buffalo Bills, and he's going to have a week under his belt, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that I'm with you, Simon. I'm not gonna start Njoku over Pitts this week as much as that sucks. I was just looking before this show and noticed Mariota's QB 13 on the season. Just like, is he just stealing all the fantasy points there? Just ruin everyone else's fantasy value, but taking them for himself. Disrespect.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm gonna have to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, if you could call him up, Joey, that would be great.
Got it.
Blue
you guys
Crew
know?
had-
Oh, good.
What you
This is
said?
home. It's a hometown game for Justin Fields, who's born in Kennesaw, Georgia. Do you guys know?
He
that?
went to my rival
Yes,
high
I'm-
school. He
Yeah.
went to there were 3 high schools that were like rivals, and I went to the one in the middle, and he went to one that was like west, and then there was the one to the east, but a little bit after my time.
That's cool for him.
West
Gets to
side
play
versus east side.
in Atlanta today. It's nice.
Blue Crew asked Van Jefferson or Elijah Mitchell at flex, non-PPR. Already using CMC. Thanks.
You
Elijah Mitchell for me.
Ooh.
Elijah Mitchell
Yeah.
over Van Jefferson. He's running back. It's a standard league, so he's going to have the touchdown upside. You're already starting CMC, but Elijah Mitchell got a decent chunk of those carries last week. And I still think they're going to use Elijah Mitchell in a lot of situations, game time situations. So not game time situations.
It's tempting though with Cooper Kupp out, right? It's tempting to go Van Jefferson, but I'm with you, JL. I'm going Mitchell. What about you, Joey?
You know, I'm gonna go Elijah Mitchell, but it brings up a question: like, who is gonna end up being the receiving option? Because Stafford likes to lean on one guy mainly. Who's gonna be it?
Skowronek.
Is it gonna be Skowronek? Tyler Higbee's the second most targeted player. Allen Robinson's the only of the Rams receiver with multiple touchdowns this year, other than Cooper Kupp.
We
And
get
then-
some Allen Robinson.
I hope it's Allen Robinson. I know you do too, because we both have a lot of him. But you know, Van Jefferson was injured, and we haven't really seen what he is in this offense this year. We know what he was last year and the year before that. And so, you know, it very well could be Van Jefferson. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
In any other format other than non-PPR, I'm going Van Jefferson over Elijah Mitchell.
But it's Elijah Mitchell for this question. Just wanted to bring that up.
Guys, I see the rest of these questions in there. We're going to keep on hitting these leading all the way up to game time. So keep them coming. Stick around and we will get to your question coming up shortly. You're listening to Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network.
Green Screens Media back at it again with your BSN timeout. And today we're previewing Group B in the upcoming FIFA World Cup, also known as this tournament's Group of Death. With me today is the skipper of our side, Kerry McAllister. Kerry, this group consists of England, the United States, Wales, and Iran. Out of those 4 squads, give me one that you think will advance from this group.
Yeah, I think for me, England is the favorite. The 3 Lions are looking to build off of a successful and a heartbreaking run to the final of Euro 2020, and they're positioned to make a deep run in this tournament. When you look at their roster, it's deep, talented, and balanced. There's depth throughout, and players can be rotated without much drop-off in quality. Gareth Southgate has plenty of options to choose from, but the verdict is still out on whether he's able to lock in the best lineup and tactics for this batch of players. John Stones and Harry Maguire should center the back line. Midfielders Declan Rice and Jordan Henderson will bring some stability. Proven goal scorers Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling will lead the attack. The main question is if England can find goal production outside of those two. Bukayo Saka and Marcus Rashford will be leaned upon, and we'll see if they can live up to the hype. The hopes of England capturing their first World Cup championship since 1966 might rely on them doing so. Jay, outside of England, who do you like in this group?
I'm going to go with the United States, which is the side that I picked to win this group in our Group B preview. It's not all sunshine for the Stars and Stripes. As good as the Americans were in qualifying, there's a little bit of nervous energy surrounding this side heading into Qatar. Part of that is because of Christian Pulisic, who's obviously the face of this team, but selection decisions at Chelsea could cause an issue when it comes to his form heading into this tournament. On the flip side of that, a player not dealing with those concerns is Brendan Aronson, who is taking the Premier League by storm this season in his first year with Leeds United. And he'll provide this creativity and goal-scoring threat regardless of where he's played on the pitch. The defense is probably the most settled of all the positions on this squad, and Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie will provide some Swiss Army knife capabilities in the central midfield. Manager Greg Berhalter has options at goalkeeper, with Matt Turner looking to reprise his starting spot from qualifying. So with that being said, Kerry, is the England-USA match the one to watch in this group?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Obviously, both teams would prefer to get a win and feel comfortable heading into their final group stage matches. But this feels like a replay of the 2010 World Cup matchup in South Africa, where the U.S. and England played to a 1-1 draw. The English will view that as probably as a bit of a letdown, but that would be a pretty good result for the United States. Timing's perfect for viewers here in the U.S. It's Friday, November 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern, so make sure to tune in.
Absolutely. And that will do it for your BSN timeout. Make sure you stay locked into the Better Sports Network and check out Green Screens Media on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube so you don't miss a minute of our World Cup coverage.
Pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network. We are going to be here live all the way up until kickoff for the next hour, answering your questions and making sure everyone's prepped for Week 11. A couple things, reminders I just wanted to let people know if you're tuning in now, missed some of the news at the top. We got 4 teams on bye this week: the Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But some players coming back that we're excited about. Mike Williams is going to play tonight, and Keenan Allen is hopeful that he will play in this game as well against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Matthew Stafford is returning to action for the Rams as well. So you're going to get him back. Marquise Brown is also back this week. Going to be playing on Monday night in the Mexico City game. So exciting to have Marquise Brown back as well. And if anyone was waiting on updates for that Bills-Browns game, it looks like it is a go at 1 p.m. in Detroit. They're playing it. Buffalo got out safely, and they are going to be ready to go. Guys, if you're tuning in now for the first time, this is Better Sports Network. It is Sports Talk 3.0 right here. Ooh. Whenever you want, we're answering your questions, but you can just hit that call-in button and join this show whenever.
Please call in.
Hit the call-in button. Bring your questions up here on air, and we would be happy to answer them. But we got some in the chat that we need to get to, guys. Jacob in here wanted to know Kenyon Drake or Miles Sanders in PPR. John Luke, would you be rolling out Kenyon Drake with the news that Gus Edwards is out, or are you rolling Miles Sanders out there?
That is that's actually pretty interesting. I expected to immediately go Miles Sanders on this, but we were talking about Kenyon Drake a little earlier. It's kind of enticing. It's a good, very windy here in Baltimore. It could, and Gus Edwards is out. It could be a Kenyon Drake game. Still going to go Miles Sanders. He's still the main guy in this offense, and I expect this offense to be running a lot this game. It's Philadelphia against the Colts. I don't think the Colts are going to be hanging in this game very much.
Joey, what about you? Which one of these are you rolling with?
Between who?
Kenyon Drake and Miles Sanders.
Oh, it's Miles Sanders. Absolutely. I do like Kenyon Drake. I said I moved him up my rankings, but Sanders has a great matchup today against the Colts. I don't think Hurts will be the only one running today.
Sanders for Joey. I think I'll roll Miles Sanders as well, but it's super close. You have 2 great options at running back this week. Victor wants to know, do I pick up Hayden Hurst, Foster Moreau, or Greg Dulcich this week? Joey, which of those tight ends would you be plugging in?
It's going to be Greg Dulcich for me. I like
Joey, are you agreeing? Dulcich for you as well?
Yeah, out of that group, Dulcich.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It's going to be Dulcich for me too. Cheddarhead in the chat. What's up, Cheddarhead? I'm guessing a Packers fan or just a lover of dairy. Wants to know Antonio Gibson, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, or Curtis Samuel. Just got to plug one in. So Gibson, Antonio Gibson, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, or Curtis Samuel. JL, which one of those would you be plugging into your lineup?
I'd be going full PPR. I'm going to go Najee Harris. I'm going to go Curtis Samuel.
Okay, which one do you prefer? Najee Harris on the top? Because I think they needed to start
Najee,
one.
I'm sorry, start one. You're right. Najee Harris. I don't know why I answered 2.
You're good. Give him a backup plan. Joey, which route are you going here?
It's going to be Najee, but it's really close because Gibson, like other than last week, has been getting that receiving work there in Washington. And I do think it's like a 2-headed monster there today against Houston with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson are both going to work today. But yeah, it's going to be Najee. But man, I'd like to start Gibson.
Grimpin in here had a question for us. Needs to start 2 in full PPR out of Marquez Valdez-Scantling, T. Higgins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Amari Cooper, and Terry McLaurin. Said right now he's got Cooper, McLaurin, and Higgins flexed in, but is tempted by MVS, though he already has Kelsey and Mahomes in that lineup. I'm not playing MVS over those guys. I think he got it right. Yeah. I think he got it right with Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, and T. Higgins. You agree, JL?
Fully agree with you, Simon, that it's an unnecessary risk to throw MVS in there.
I always say that I love it when people say back-to-back players and ask me. We have the rare, guys. Just hold yourselves here. The back-to-back-to-back. My wide receiver 7, Terry McLaurin. Wide receiver 8, Amari Cooper. And wide receiver 9, T. Higgins. Exciting when these things happen in the world. Go play the lottery, everyone.
Let's do it.
Go play the lottery.
Tristan in here had a question for us. Want to know Rondale Moore, Hollywood Brown, or Tyler Boyd? So Hollywood Brown making his return this week. Tyler Boyd or one of the 2 Cardinals receivers. John Luke, which way are you going to roll here?
I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd. Marquise Brown, if you have to throw him in there, you can. I would wait a week. I'd wait a week and see. Get Kyler healthy, get Marquise Brown another week to recover here, heal. I'd be going Tyler Boyd, take advantage of that Pittsburgh matchup.
Joe, you agreeing here?
It's Tyler Boyd for me. Does he need 2 or just 1?
Just one.
Yep,
Just one.
it's Tyler Boyd. Yeah, wait the week on Marquise. He'll be back.
Yeah, and it's a great matchup for Boyd. So you have the luxury of being able to wait. Do you guys have what's your line for Marquise Brown this week? Where are you starting him?
With Tyler Boyd?
Question.
Or no, which player, because we're worried about his injury coming back, but at what point do you just play Marquise Brown because he's Marquise Brown, as opposed to is it above Darius Slayton? Marquise Brown or Darius Slayton?
It's Darius
Slayton.
Darius Slayton. Okay, so it's not that he's a bad start this week, but Marquise
if
Brown.
I can avoid it, I'm going to, yeah.
Yeah. Donovan Peoples-Jones against the Bills or Marquise Brown?
DPJ.
DJ.
Okay, so it looks like you guys are trying to avoid him pretty much at all costs if you can.
Monday night game too. Yeah.
I get it. Monday night, it's a little bit too risky. Unless you have Rondale Moore sitting there as well, like that last commenter did, then it's really risky.
Right.
Mitch in here wanted to know Cortland Sutton, Najee Harris, or Darnell Mooney in half PPR. Joey, which one of those would you be plugging in half PPR?
I really like Cortland Sutton this week. There's no Jerry Jeudy. The play calling's been handed off to Kubiak now. So, yeah, I think this could be a turnaround game for Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos offense today. I liked Cortland Sutton before this announcement. I like him even more now.
John Luke, you agreeing here?
Was Cortland, Najee, and Mooney?
And Mooney. Mooney's the last one.
Moondog. Cortland Sutton, Najee, or Mooney. I think I'd go Najee Harris here.
Close. I think I lean with Joey. I think I'm going to go Cortland Sutton in this one. And Joey, you changed my mind on Russell Wilson. I think I've just got the ick with Russell Wilson. Know what I mean? I think I've just I got to just brush it off though and stop letting that cloud my judgment because he's a fine start this week. You can
Mooney's
play
a fine start too.
Mooney is a good start. Yeah.
Yeah. Chicago has Atlanta. They are giving up so many points to wide receivers, boys.
Oh. How many?
So many.
Wow. I can't believe it's so many. Jocelyn in here had a question for us. Good morning, guys. What's up, Jocelyn? Good morning. Full PPR, Tony Pollard or David Montgomery? Joey, are you pushing out Pollard or Montgomery? It's a tough question.
Oh, man. Yes. It's going to be Tony Pollard for me. I think everything we've seen out of him the last few weeks has just been fantastic. But don't be down on David Montgomery. He's a league winner this year. That's one player. They're close though. They're almost back to back.
Give me Monty. Give me David Montgomery. It is super close. But with Khalil Herbert going on the IR and this good matchup against Atlanta, I'll take David Montgomery. What about you, John Luke?
Yeah, Khalil Herbert on that IR is
brutal.
Lights up, wheels up for Montgomery.
lights on.
Lights on.
Does Zeke factor into it?
A little bit, right? Just a little bit that Zeke's going to be back. Like when we're looking to separate these two, Zeke will get some work this week, even though he's not going to be the feature back. But Montgomery's he doesn't need an excuse on the Pollard side to play Montgomery here. Know what I mean? Even if Zeke wasn't active, I think you could still make the argument that Monty's the start.
I think you guys swayed me. I had Monty at running back 16 and I had Pollard at running back 14. I'll make that switch. I'll move Pollard one spot behind. I still like Pollard, but yeah, I'll go Monty then. You guys swayed me.
There we go. Nick's on here had a question for us. Says, does anyone know if I should start DeAndre Hopkins or bench him? I have Higgins, CeeDee Lamb, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I can put Sanders in flex.
Put Hopkins on your bench.
Over Sanders?
Miles Sanders or Hopkins?
Yes.
Who are you starting?
Miles Sanders over Hopkins.
Are you, Simon?
I think I'm plugging in Hopkins. I think I'm plugging in Hopkins there. And
me too.
Man,
I got a little excited there.
One thing to consider, we've brought this up, but that Detroit, my brain just went. Oh, that Detroit New York Giants game there in New York is expected to have high wind as well. So it's going to be another really windy game. Does that maybe make you want to play Hopkins over Amon-Ra St. Brown? Or are you still throwing Amon-Ra St. Brown in there?
Still throwing Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. So Sanders is the one you're sitting out of these?
Yep. I think so.
Okay.
Throwing D-Hop in there. What make you just is it a fear of D-Hop or is it a plus matchup for Sanders that's making you want to go Sanders?
It's a fear of Colt McCoy. While he did look okay last week, I would much rather take the safety of Sanders.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We have a question in here. Oh, sorry. From Anonymous. Anonymous said DeAndre Hopkins or Deonta Foreman. DeAndre Hopkins or Deonta Foreman. I'm going to go Hopkins here. Joey, are you going Hopkins or Foreman?
Yeah, I'm going to go Hopkins here. There's just my fear is not limited there.
Yeah, Hopkins for me. Triple hop.
Also, Eric in here. I'm sorry we've missed your question
Hi,
a couple
Eric.
times now, my man. He said PPR flex 2, Elijah Mitchell, Darius Slayton, and Paris Campbell. So 2 of those need to be flexed. 1 needs to hit the bench. I think this is where Mitchell hits the bench for me. I like Slayton and Campbell this week. JL, what about you?
Oh boy, I would be benching Slayton out of that group.
You know what? Oh, God, that's really close between those two. Campbell's the must start for me, but I'll roll out the 2 wide receivers.
I changed my answer. I'm actually going to bench Campbell
Against the Eagles?
Going against Philadelphia. I think Jeff Saturday and this Colts offense so far has had, they have easier matchups. So this is going to be tough going against Philadelphia. Their secondary is no joke, giving up the 8th least points to fantasy wide receivers. Paris Campbell is not the main guy in that offense. So there's a lot of risk there. I'd go Elijah Mitchell and Slayton.
What about you, Joey?
I'm going to take the receivers. Can I use this moment to talk about Matt Ryan?
Yeah,
because it does factor into it. So when Matt Ryan got benched, I was really sad because I was going with this whole indoor-outdoor split for Matt Ryan stat. And it just got even better last week when he was put back in the starting role. Indoors, Matt Ryan, 308 passing yards, 2 touchdowns per game, and 2 total interceptions. Outdoors, 229 yards, 1 total touchdown, and 7 interceptions in 3 games. So 5 games, 308 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. The Colts are indoors 6 out of the next 7 weeks, including the fantasy playoffs. Maybe not this week against Philadelphia, but if you're hurting at quarterback, Matt Ryan might be someone that can help you win weeks. And I know that's crazy to say, but the stats have been there this season. I know it's 8 games, but maybe it's a DFS play with Matt Ryan.
You can do worse.
Is an indoor-outdoor thing?
It's an indoor-outdoor, not home and away.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, the Colts just luck into playing the Cowboys and the Vikings during this next stretch, which are all indoor games as well.
Yeah, I think them going up against the number 1 defense against QB makes me a little less excited to get cute with indoor-outdoor stat.
Not necessarily for this week. Okay, but I'll tell you what, if he shows up against Philadelphia this week,
lights up for Matt
Lights
Ryan.
on.
I don't normally
turn the porch light on for Matt Ryan because he's coming home late at night, baby. We had another question in here from Mike. Mike wanted to know Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, or Tony Pollard. Dale, which one of those would you be starting?
So Brian Robinson, Tony Pollard, and who was the first one?
Antonio Gibson. So the 2 Commanders backs, and then Pollard as well.
I would go Pollard. I'd go Pollard there.
I'm rolling out Pollard as well. Joey, do you agree?
Yeah. Full agreement. It's Pollard. Brian Robinson would be second, and then Gibson.
Lucius in here wanted to know, Miss Hollywood is probably coming off IR, so adding him to the question from earlier, Ezekiel Elliott, Marquise Brown, or Devin Duvernay?
Marquise Brown or Devin.
Zeke, Brown, or Duvernay. So Marquise Hollywood Brown, Ezekiel Elliott, or Devin Duvernay. Which way are you rolling?
I'll go Duvernay, Zeke, Brown.
I think that's what I would do too. And that is the worst answer I have to give.
It's gross.
I don't like it.
I see Sovici in the chat coming in with a super chat and a question for us. Thank you so much, Sovici. Said full PPR, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 1 flex. So at the running back position, needs to start 2 of these players. Has Dalvin Cook, Antonio Gibson, Kenyon Drake, CEH, and Melvin Gordon. For me, I think this is going to be Dalvin Cook and Kenyon Drake out of these players. Joey, do you agree, or would you be plugging in somebody else?
So I think Antonio Gibson was one of those, you said?
Antonio Gibson was one of those, yeah.
Okay, I would... No, it's going to be Drake and
Dalvin Cook.
And Dalvin Cook, yeah, sorry, I forgot that. There was a slam dunk Dalvin Cook. It's like, yep.
John Luke, the wide receivers, he's got Deontay Johnson, Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks, and Jacoby Myers. Needs to plug in 2 of those wide receivers. We're iffy on if Keenan Allen's going to come back. Which 2 are you plugging in?
Yeah, I'd be worried about Keenan Allen. I can't start him this week. I'd lock in Deontay Johnson and let's see 2 wide receivers here. So Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks, or Myers. Let's see, Cooks has Washington. I think I'd go Cooks. I'd go Deontay Johnson and Cooks.
What about you, Joey? Which two wide receivers?
Deontay Johnson and Cooks.
Yeah, it's going to be that same for me. And then I'm going to throw Antonio Gibson in the flex whenever I'm looking at the rest of these options. Needs a flex play as well.
Yeah, I'm happy.
It's a great matchup, and it's better than your receiving options there to throw in the flex. So hopefully we're able to help you out a little bit there, Sovici. Chasen here had a question for us. Wanted to know PPR, Sutton or Boyd. So Cortland Sutton or Tyler Boyd, two players we've talked about quite a bit today. John Luke, which one's it going to be?
I am going to be on the Tyler Boyd side of this today. Yeah, I know Joey's excited about Cortland Sutton. Tyler Boyd has Pittsburgh, as we mentioned earlier in the show, best matchup for wide receivers so far this season. And Jamar Chase is out. So I'm going to lean Boyd over Cortland Sutton, but it is close. So I understand why this is a dilemma.
Joey, are you going to be on the Sutton side here? Or are you agreeing with JL for Boyd?
All morning, JL and I've been walking on this path of the forest of Tyler Boyd, and this is where our paths diverge. It's going to be Cortland Sutton for me. I know.
I wish you luck on your journey.
We went so far, yeah. We just waved to each other, and you know what? Our paths will probably come back together. It'll be good.
This is like big fish.
No, the rest, I hate that movie. I hate that movie. I watched it when I was in a really vulnerable emotional state, and I cried more than I intended to, and so now I do not like it anymore. It makes me sad. We have another question in here. Peter wanted to know Mooney, Slayton, or Duvernay PPR. Mooney, Slayton, or Duvernay? Mooney for you, JL?
Yeah, it's Moondog for me.
What about you, Joey?
I was trying to make the shape of moon with my fingers, but I failed. It's going to be Mooney.
It's Mooney for me, Moondog.
Good matchup.
Robin here said Pittman, Boyd, or Sutton, full PPR. So Michael Pittman, Tyler Boyd, or Cortland Sutton. So that same Boyd-Sutton question from before. Joey, you took Sutton. Are you starting Pittman over Sutton, or are you throwing Sutton in there?
No, I'm going to put them in order for you. So it'll be Sutton, Sutton, Boyd, and then Pittman.
Dale, what about you?
Yeah, I think I put in that order too. Philadelphia is going to
shut down Boyd over Sutton, right?
You'd go Boyd over Sutton.
Oh, yeah. Boyd over Sutton. Sorry, I was just thinking about the Pittman part.
That's okay. Jail, we understand. We knew you were on the Boyd side before you even answered. You didn't even have to say anything.
Thanks.
Everyone watching, we're going to keep on answering these questions leading all the way up to kickoff. We got some killer ones in there that I'm seeing. Right now, you're listening to Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network.
This is Jeff Power with Real Time Fantasy Sports, and I'm here to give you three of my favorite DFS pick'em games for week 11 of the fantasy football season. Put these pick'ems to use at Real Time Fantasy Sports. Go to www.rtsports.com/DFS-pick'em. And right now, for Better Sports Network users, we're doing a 100% deposit match. Just use the code BSN, and we will match your deposit 100%. Again, go to www.rtsports.com/DFS-pick'em and use the code BSN. Now, here are three of my favorite pick'em plays for this week here at Real Time Fantasy Sports. My first one is Broncos running back Melvin Gordon, more than 37.5 rushing yards. So Gordon has not really taken off since becoming the starter for the Broncos, but he hasn't been all bad. He has 2 straight games with double-digit fantasy points. He has double-digit touches 3 straight games, so he's getting the chances in the Broncos offense. If he gets that workload this week against the Las Vegas Raiders, I think he'll do really well. The Raiders allow the 4th most fantasy points of running backs, and they allowed more than 200 rushing yards last week. So I really like Melvin Gordon, more than 37.5 rushing yards. My next favorite DFS pick'em play is Raiders quarterback Derek Carr, fewer than 229.5 passing yards. Carr has really been quite mediocre most of the year for an underachieving Raiders team. I expect more of the same this week in a tough matchup against the Broncos. This is a team that held him out of the end zone in week 4. He didn't even reach 200 passing yards in that game, so he was well below 229.5 passing yards. And Denver allows the fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks, first overall against the pass. I really like Carr, fewer than 229.5 passing yards. And my last favorite pick'em play for this week is David Montgomery of the Chicago Bears, the running back with the Chicago Bears, and I like more than 13.2 fantasy points. Clear Herbert is out on injured reserve. This leaves Montgomery to get nearly all the work at running back for Chicago. No longer splitting the work. He's going to get a lot more touches. I think this is great for his fantasy value. And I know he hasn't been great this year, but he does have 3 games with double-digit fantasy points, 100-yard showing in week 2, so he's more than capable. And he has a super matchup this week against the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta allows the 12th most fantasy points of running backs. They gave up 232 rushing yards to the Panthers last week. That's not exactly an explosive Carolina rushing attack either. And Atlanta has allowed 169 or more rushing yards 2 of 3 games. So I really like Montgomery more than 13.2 fantasy points. Again, put this DFS pick'em knowledge to use. Go to rtsports.com/DFS-pick'em. Put in the code BSN for a 100% deposit match right now. Good luck in all of your Week 11 games. This has been Jeff Power with Real Time Fantasy Sports.
Pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network. It is Week 11, and we are approaching kickoff. 40 minutes until these games start, and we're here to help you guys get ready for your Week 11 matchups. We had some questions come in here in the chat, and guys, we're going to do our best to get to all of these. If we miss it, we are working our way through them. But Kegan here wanted to know, start 2, Michael Pittman, Mike Williams, or Jacoby Myers. So one of those players needs to hit the bench. For me, it's going to be Jacoby Myers out of those 3 players. I'm going to start Michael Pittman and Mike Williams. Joey, which 2 of those 3 would you be starting?
I'm going to bench Pittman. That matchup against Philadelphia is a little scary. And I actually kind of like Jacoby Myers this week. So, yeah, it's going to be Pittman for me. But I am going to move Myers down a little bit. I'm glad you brought that up because of the wind. But
not that far. Still above Michael Pittman. John
Luke,
Luke,
still above Michael Pittman.
What about you? We cannot. I am sure that what you're saying is beautiful.
I didn't say anything, Simon.
You were
I was just
mouthing.
moving my mouth.
That's
Jail muted again.
Jacoby Myers. The Patriots are going against the Jets, and I don't know what it is, but something about the Jets really screws with the Patriots. These guys are close enough. I would lean Pittman. Also, the Vegas is expecting this game to be so low scoring. 38 is the total set by Vegas here.
Which one? The Jets Patriots game?
Yeah, Jets Patriots.
Yeah, gross, nasty. Yeah. I can't think of a game I want to watch less today that I'm going to watch in its entirety, anyways. Tim in here said Olave or Jacoby Myers in the flex. So Joey, does your Jacoby Myers love extend past Chris Olave? Or are you starting Olave over Myers?
I'd start Jacoby Myers over Olave today.
Jacoby Myers.
I'm a little bullish. I agree. But I mean, Mac Jones,
you want to do a bet?
Yeah,
Joey. I don't know what we did. Some punishment.
We'll both be here next week. So
Olave Myers half PPR.
Yeah, Myers versus half PPR. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Animal noise bet.
Beautiful. Love it. I like
loser has to make an animal noise. Olave versus Jacoby Myers. And I'm just going to sit on the sideline, even though my opinion is Chris Olave. I'm not playing in this one. I always lose these bets. Just kidding. No, I do pretty good on the bets. It's just those damn prop drafts, Jay, that you keep beating me on. You stinker. We had a question in here from HUD. HUD wanted to know Kadarius Toney or Devonta Smith in full PPR. John Luke, are you going with Kadarius Toney or Devonta Smith?
I'm going to go with Devonta Smith over Kadarius Toney. Oh, man, that is tough.
Yeah.
I think I'd go Devonta Smith still, though.
Yeah.
Are you guys leaning on this one?
Joey, what do you think here? You look like your face said this was close for you as well.
They're back to back my rankings. Love saying it. But no, like Devonta Smith, I know he had the fumble last week, the very costly fumble. But AJ Brown's dealing with a little bit of an injury. So this might be a game where you see Smith get a little bit favored in this matchup. So I like Smith over Toney, and I do like Toney a lot, though. But
I think I'll roll Smith here. But man, is it tempting to just get Toney in your lineup with what that game's shaping up to be. I'll roll Smith, but I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted to throw Toney in. Guys, if you're enjoying what we're doing over here, if we've helped you out with your questions today, there's more of us. You can head over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Make sure you hit that sub button. We're here every Sunday and then also live every single day from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for the Front Yard Fantasy morning show. And other times. You're right, Chael. We don't just stick to those time slots.
All the time, 24/7. We don't sleep.
I sleep, just not well. But we kind of don't sleep. Nino in here had a question for us that I'm really torn on Michael Carter or Najee Harris. So there was the report, Joey, that you brought up earlier that Najee Harris was going to see a lot of touches this week. Are you starting him over Michael Carter?
10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, same for me. Not particularly close in my eyes. What about you, John Luke?
Yep, I'm with you guys.
What about this question from Chase? He wants to know Singletary or Patterson in the RB2 spot. So Cordero Patterson going up against the Chicago Bears or Devin Singletary going up against the Browns. Joey, I think I know what your answer is going to be, but who are you starting?
It's going to be Singletary. Browns are the second worst team versus the run. And last week, Singletary had 2 first-half touchdowns. He was my start of the week last week. My call my shot, and I'm going to call my shot again 2 weeks in a row on Devin Singletary.
Yep. JL, you agreeing with Joey here? Or you rolling out CPAT?
I'm going to go on the Singletary side as well. Yeah, that matchup
better.
Just too good. Just too good.
Corey in here had a question for it. Said I can start one. Well, I hope you can. Said Pickens, Cooks, or A-Rob. What do you all think? So George Pickens, Brandon Cooks, or Allen Robinson? That's a tough question. Joey, putting you on the spot first. Which of those 3 wide receivers are you throwing in?
So Pickens, A-Rob, or
Brandon Cooks.
It's probably going to be Pickens for me. Yeah, Pickens.
John
Bingo. Pickens. Let's go.
Yeah, make it a triple Pickens. There's hope for A-Rob.
That's delicious.
I was just about to say, that sounds so good. That's what I want for lunch is the triple Pickens.
Did Nico
It's
Collins...
like second helpings.
Sorry, go ahead.
I finished.
What were you saying, Jay?
Did Nico Collins pass Brandon Cooks as the receiving option on this team?
I mean, Brandon Cooks, I think, might have let him walk right past him, right?
Yeah, he lost his captain sticker, so
yeah.
Brandon Cooks might have held the door open and said, "After you, Nico, like go on ahead, like you're the wide receiver." He just opens the door and says, "Ladies,"
just insults him as he gets by. With like such a terrible insult too.
If you take the last 2 letters of Brandon Cook's first name and the first 2 of his last name, you can spell Nico. There's something there, guys.
Nico.
We'll work on it for next week.
It's in the cards.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was Corey's question. Mitch had a question for us that I need to start 2.5 PPR league. Rondale Moore, Isaiah Pacheco, and Antonio Gibson. So which one of those 3 would you be benching? 1 needs to hit the bench. 2 are going to be started. The players are Rondale Moore, Isaiah Pacheco, and Antonio Gibson.
Oh, man.
Joey, what are you thinking here, man?
I love your options for one. Man, I'm benching Pacheco and I don't want to. I want to find a way to get Pacheco in every lineup this week if I can. He feels like the perfect flex play. So it's going to be Gibson for me.
I'm benching. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John Luke.
I was just going to agree with Joey here. Antonio Gibson for me as well. That matchup is perfection.
I'm nervous that it's the Brian Robinson show again, so I'm going to put Gibson on the bench and start the other 2. I'm going to start Pacheco and Rondale Moore because even though Gibson's upside in that matchup is much higher, I feel like his floor is much lower as well. Like we could just see him get 6 carries and then you're not too happy with it. So I'll put Gibson on the bench, but I don't blame you guys. That matchup is enticing there against the Houston Texans. Brady wanted to know sit 1 in a full PPR league. Rondale Moore, DJ Moore, Cordero Patterson, Devonta Smith, Jamal Williams, and James Robinson. One of those players has to hit the bench. It's going to be James Robinson for me out of that bunch for the player that's going to go on the bench. You guys agree?
Yep.
James Robinson. Get him on.
Miles wants to know start Foreman or Peterson. Which one of those players would you be plugging in?
I think he means
Patterson.
I was like, who the heck is Peterson?
I was like, did Adrian Peterson sign with the team and I missed
it?
David
David Johnson was activated for today. That was interesting.
Throwback. Man, we say throwback. That was like 3 years ago that he was killing it. Yeah. So Foreman or Patterson today, JL?
I would go Foreman. I'd go Foreman over Patterson. The other backfield, or the other running backs in Cordero Patterson's backfield there are worrisome. I like the matchup. It's a solid matchup for him. Down to Foreman going against Baltimore is not the best matchup, but I do think that I'm talking myself out of this. I'm going Cordero Patterson. I straight up talking myself out of it. Like Carolina's going to be. I'm just thinking Deonta Foreman might get game scripted out this week.
Jill, I was watching that happen. I was like, he's going to switch. He's going to switch. Like every word you said, I was like
every point is for Cordero Patterson. No, I'm going Cordero Patterson. Listen, you gotta go with what the data's telling you.
Zig when your data zigs, right? Am I right or am I right?
Zig,
Joey,
Zig.
Patterson or Foreman?
It's gonna be Foreman for me. Like I said, I'm a little worried that Patterson. Yeah, it's gonna be Foreman for me, no matter what the peanut gallery has to say. I'm a little worried that Patterson's gonna get left behind in this rushing offense.
There's only one half of the peanut gallery because the other half agrees with you, Joey. I'm going Foreman as well.
It was just very startling to me.
I'll just get booed out of nowhere.
Not used to getting booed.
Every time I walk out of my front door, I just get booed by all my neighbors. Like, go back inside, loser.
Idiot.
Every time I walk outside. Trevor wanted to know Kenyon Drake or David Montgomery. John Luke, Monty or Drake?
This is okay. All right, Monty or Drake. David Montgomery is going against Atlanta. I'm gonna go David Montgomery.
I'm gonna go David Montgomery as well. Joey, do you agree with us?
Oh, it's David Montgomery.
Oh, we got that triple Monty on here. First, the triple Pickens.
Now,
triple Monty doesn't sound.
Triple Monty sounds like a real thing, though. It sounds like a card thing or something.
Triple Monty, is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like an all-mail review.
See, triple 3 card. My brain was there, it just wasn't quite there.
Sunday night, the triple Monty.
Starring Joey, Simon, and JL in their underpants.
All refunds will be given back at the door.
We've got Zachary in here with a question. He said, I've got Brian Robinson in my RB2 with Keenan Allen and Devonta Foreman at my double flex spots. I have Devonta Smith and Cordero Patterson on my bench. What's the move? So would you guys, I think what this comes down to for me is like Keenan Allen or Deonta Foreman. Would you start Devonta Smith or Cordero Patterson over either of those two guys?
Yes, over Keenan Allen. I'd start both of those guys. I'd start both those guys over Keenan Allen is what I meant to say.
I would start Devonta Smith over Deonta Foreman.
And then would you start Cordero Patterson over Keenan Allen?
Yes, because I don't know if Keenan Allen's going to play, and I don't like saying that.
I think I roll with Keenan Allen. I think the disparity between them is enough that I take the risk for Keenan Allen tonight. But I get it, Joey. I like that is it's about risk tolerance. Are you tolerant to the risk? Because I think Keenan Allen's the way better play than Patterson. John Luke, it sounds like you'd be plugging in both of those guys over Allen and Foreman.
Yep.
You'd just be making the full-on switch right there. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Mitch in here had a question. Mitch said, I was offered Dalton Schultz and 18 fab for Garrett Wilson. Would you guys take Schultz plus 18 fab and send away Garrett Wilson? Currently, they have Dulcich at their tight end spot.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
Because you got Dulcich. Nope.
Yeah.
Keep rolling with what you got.
Yeah. Maybe, Schultz will likely finish better than Dulcich throughout the season, like rest of the season, but it's just not a big enough edge to give up Wilson.
I do like they try to sweeten the pot with that $18 a fab. Yeah. So here you go. Here's a little money
not
too.
Not 10, not 15, 18. It's a pro move. You got to watch out for that guy. He knows what he's doing, whoever sent you that trade offer. That is a pro trading move right there. Untamed wanted to know Darnell Mooney or Kenyon Drake in a half PPR. We've been getting lots of Kenyon Drake questions today. For those that did not hear, Gus Edwards is out, which means Kenyon Drake will likely be the lead back in this Ravens offense again. John Luke, Darnell Mooney or Kenyon Drake?
We don't have the format
matchups, right? No, we do not have the format.
Because that might switch things up for me. If it's half PPR or full PPR, I'm going to go Mooney. I'm going to go Mooney today. That matchup for Chicago is so effing good, guys. Oh my God. I'm just like so hyped for Justin Fields. All the Bears this week. Like I'm expecting a good game. The Vegas is also expecting a high scoring game. 49 is the over under that is set. I'm going to go Darnell Mooney. In non PPR or standard, I would go Kenyon Drake though.
What about you, Joey?
It's Darnell Mooney for me in pretty much any format.
I'll roll out Darnell.
JL is correct on that Bears matchup that they're expecting a lot out of it. They removed the Cole Kmet prop bet from the sports book I was in. It was over 23.5 receiving yards. They have pulled it out. I think people are on it.
Really?
But I got my bet in early, so I got it on the over. So I'm excited.
Hey, nice. I'm excited for this. You think we see Justin Fields break the single game rushing yards record again? I want to see him do it one more time this season. Like that's what I'm holding my breath for. Is I want to see him set the record and then do it again.
He's so good, guys.
He's so good. We had another question in here. This one from Rob. Rob wanted to know Cordero Patterson, Joshua Palmer, or Mike Williams in the flex, full PPR. John Luke, Cordero Patterson, Josh Palmer, or Mike Williams. Who are you plugging in? Mike coming back from that injury this week. Palmer's been filling in for him. Filling in for him.
I would go Mike Williams over Cordero Patterson. It's pretty close. I am concerned about Mike Williams. There's risk there, him coming back. It's a similar situation to Keenan Allen. I'm a little bit more confident to start Mike Williams over Keenan Allen.
Yeah, because we have that news that he's playing tonight, right? Like they've told us he's playing, and Keenan Allen, they've said, I hope so. Yeah. Joey, what about you? Which one are you starting?
It's Singletary. I mean, I'm not Singletary.
Entirely different player. Mention both.
Here's what you do. None of those. Singletary. Joey, did you mean Mike Williams?
I did mean Mike Williams. I'm sorry.
I knew it.
I can see how you. I can see.
That got me for some
different
reason.
Position,
awesome.
Entirely different names. Same thing.
Like I was
different sides.
Fully on Mike. I'm like, yep. Answer Mike Williams to this. I'm all good. Comes to me, Singletary. Like it's all that's in my head right now.
Josh Allen.
Swavey has a trade question for us, guys. Trying to get this in before the buzzer. Swavey said he's got Lamar Jackson at quarterback. His running backs are Nick Chubb, Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker. And the wide receivers, he's got Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, Higgins, and Pittman. So a stacked team. But he wants to know, should I trade Fields, Walker, Swift, and Pittman for Tyreek Hill? So
Swift and Pittman for Tyreek Hill and who?
It's for Tyreek Hill, Dameon Pierce, and Rashad White. So Fields, Walker, Swift, and Pittman for Tyreek Hill, Dameon Pierce, and Rashad White. Are you making this move, Joey?
I mean, I like what you're getting.
Yeah, and he's got Lamar. Know what I mean? He's cashing in on that Fields value.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about this week about the value of quarterbacks in one quarterback leagues and how if you can get yourself a good running back to a wide receiver to for Justin Fields is the name we've been mentioning all week. You need to do that because especially if you have Lamar, I'm making this trade and you're getting Tyreek Hill. Oh my goodness. And Dameon Pierce. I mean,
it's hot. It's hot.
Yeah, I like it. I love it for you, man. Do it.
Joe, you making this trade?
Yeah, I would make this trade. I agree with what Joey said.
It's a triple yes. I think that's a slam dunk trade for you, my man. Cash in here wanted to know, God, every Kyle Pitts question we get hurts my heart because they're valid and reasonable, and it hurts my feelings that this is a real question right now. Kyle Pitts or Foster Moreau this weekend? Joey, who are you plugging in, Pitts or Moreau?
Man, I'm gonna go Pitts. They're back to back in my rankings, though. I wish I could put that up every time so people know that I'm telling the truth. But I have Kyle Pitts at 10 and Foster Moreau at 11. I'd start on both over Hayden Hurst and Juwan Johnson, though.
I'd go Pitts. I'd go Pitts in this situation. Foster Moreau going against the Denver defense. I honestly, I'm worried about this Raiders offense this week. This is gonna be brutal.
Yeah, I'll go Pitts as well. But it's close. It's very close. I think they're in the same tier, which sucks. Robin wanted to know Cordero Patterson or Drake in the flex spot. So Kenyon Drake or Cordero Patterson, JL?
I'd go Drake. I'd go Drake over Patterson.
It's going to be Drake for me as well. What about you, Joey?
Drake.
Caesar in here wanted to know, pick 2 wide receivers in a flex in a PPR league. Amari Cooper, Rondale Moore, Paris Campbell, Devonta Smith, David Montgomery, and Elijah Mitchell. I think we will probably all agree that Amari Cooper and David Montgomery are locked in, right?
Yes.
Like both of those guys you have to start. JL, do you agree with those two?
Yep.
So we need one more wide receiver out of Rondale Moore, Paris Campbell, and Devonta Smith. JL, of those 3 wide receivers, which one would you be plugging in?
It comes down to Devonta Smith and
Rondale.
Rondale for me. Thank you. So another Smith question. So Smith between Smith and Rondale, I would go Devonta Smith this week.
With the uncertainty around Kyler and Marquise Brown expected to play, I get it, Jay. I think I'm rolling Smith as well. What about you, Joey?
It'll be Rondale Moore for me, but they're not far apart. So if you start Smith and don't go with me, that's fine. I like Smith this week, so it's.
I love making it a little bit personal when you give advice. Like it's good, it's fine though. If you don't want to listen to what I have to say, I'm just saying it, but you don't even have to listen.
Some of these start-sit decisions, I mean, they really are so close that if you go with one or the other, it's not. And this is one of those things. Like if you go Smith, that's fine. I won't be that offended. I'm not going to write your name.
Probabilities are close enough that we're really just like giving you which way we lean, which we think is more likely to happen. But it's still probability.
Absolutely. Guys, we're going to keep on answering your questions leading all the way up to kickoff. So make sure you're sticking around here on Better Sports Network. This is Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy, and we'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
All good. I guess we're going to keep on hitting some questions, guys.
I'm not going to go on that. Here's a fun fact. Stingrays, oh God! Stingrays are one of the... Here's a fun fact. No. Here's a fun fact. Stingrays are born completely developed at birth and require very little parental supervision. When I was a child, I had very little parental supervision, but not because I was fully developed, because I was completely ugly. One player that doesn't look good in your lineup this week is Matt Ryan. He'll be going against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I do not advise him starting this week.
Hey, Joe, you want to go touch the Stingrays?
No. The Detroit Lions have a tough matchup this week against the New York Giants, so I thought I would find SeaWorld's biggest Lions fans and ask them their thoughts on the game. So, who are you guys worried about this week? Justin Fields or Jared Goff? Who's kidding? Well, that does it for us today with Start, Sits, and Salutations. I hope you had a good time. But, like, what part of this day was supposed to be a dream come true?
Hey, Joe, look over there.
Holy... Start, Sits, and Salutations was brought to you today by the letter K. K is for kite. K is for Kittle, who is absolutely a start for me this week against the Arizona Cardinals. And K is for kindness. Everyone, have a great week 11, and let's all practice being a little kinder to each other. Bye-bye. It's always important to practice safety at the theme parks. I always recommend wearing a seatbelt. Oh, shit.
Pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy.
Up until kickoff, helping answer all of your questions and getting you ready for your week 11 matchups. We got Swampy in the chat. What's up, Swamp? Welcome in, my friend. And he said, this was amazing. Shout out to Joey for all the work he puts into those Start, Sits, and Salutations videos. If you haven't checked out the other ones, you liked what you saw there, head on over to our YouTube channel. There's a whole playlist of them, and Joey's the man. They're all that funny. They're all pretty fantastic. We had some more questions in here, guys. Essie in the chat. What's up, Essie? He said, hey, guys, here is my situation. I have both Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins. Both are questionable. I have one on flex and one on wide receiver. My only other wide receiver option is Nico Collins. And for flex, I have Jalen Warren. My fear is one of these guys doesn't play and I won't have anyone to cover. Should I play Nico Collins? So, Joey, given the situation Essie's in, are you plugging Nico Collins in?
You know, I'm going to roll with Hopkins and Keenan. I think the talent it's so far above what Nico Collins can give you that I would roll with those two options.
What about you, JL?
Sorry, who were the other players?
Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins were in the flex. Then he's got Nico Collins and Jalen Warren as the guys that he could plug in for those.
Yeah, I'm with Joey. I would go those two guys. I was a little hesitant to throw my name behind Keenan Allen here, but I would much rather start in the other options.
Well, now your name is behind him, JL. You can't take it back. Preston in here said, should I start Jacoby Myers or Amari Cooper at flex? Just worried about Cooper because he's on the road where he is historically bad. You're not wrong, my man. You're not wrong that he's been bad on the road, and that trend has continued this year. DPJ seems to show up for the Browns on the road. That being said, I'm still plugging in Amari Cooper. He's the wide receiver one in this Browns offense. It's not a traditional home game. It's in Detroit as well. So maybe we don't see some of those same like road struggles that we saw or that we see from Cooper playing the Bills in Detroit. Joey, what about you?
Yeah, it's going to be Cooper for me.
Cooper.
I would like to report here before we go on to our next question. Simon and I just made a trade in a league where I am going up against Joey.
Oh, I thought we were playing each other, and I didn't realize that we made a trade. What's the trade, JL?
Oh, wait, something's not funny.
Kadarius Toney, and the other reason I bring it up is to make sure Simon saw that I accepted it live before the game start. But it's Kadarius Toney for Cole Kmet. Kadarius Toney for Cole Kmet. I need a wide receiver this week.
I need a tight end.
My ding dong commissioner made it so that waivers aren't open on Sunday, and there are no wide receivers on the waiver wire for tomorrow's game. I need a wide receiver start. So this makes a ton of sense. I have Mark Andrews. He needs tight end help. So there we go.
You don't like that trade, Joey? Veto. Which side do you want, Joey? Kadarius Toney or Cole Kmet?
I want the side that's going to give JL the least amount of points this week.
I'm number 2. I'm currently ranked second in this league, followed by Joey, who's ranked third.
Well,
So
I'm very close behind at last in this league. So I'm hoping for that comeback.
Not with the Met now.
That is not my best league. Not my best league. We had some more questions in here, guys. Ryan wanted to know, should I start Tyler Higbee, who is facing Demario Davis, who's number 1 against tight ends, or Melvin Gordon going up against the Raiders in a PPR league? So, Joey, Tyler Higbee or Melvin Gordon in that flex spot? Someone's got the bye week blues here, I think, if this is the decision they're making.
Sorry. Yeah, it's going to be Higbee for me.
Higbee over Gordon?
Yeah.
JL, what about you? Higbee over Gordon?
Yeah, I would do Higbee over Gordon.
It's gross. It's gross for both of these guys. I'll roll out Higbee, I guess. Man, he could give you just a fat old goose egg, though. I feel like Melvin Gordon's going to get you at least 4 points. Know what I mean? And I know that sounds dumb, but Melvin Gordon's going to get you something. He's going to touch the ball. He'll get at least 15 rushing yards. I'm worried Higbee gets nothing. He's done that a couple times this year. So I'll still roll out Higbee, but I don't like it. Tyson had a question for us. Start 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Kadarius Toney, Rondale Moore, Cordero Patterson, and Kenyon Drake. So, Joey, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Who are you rolling out from that bunch?
All of the players that we've gotten the most questions about.
I know. Yeah.
Just all in one decision.
One more time, roll through the names.
Kadarius Toney, Rondale Moore, Cordero Patterson, and Kenyon Drake. Truly the 4 names we've been asked about the most today.
So it's going to be Toney for me.
Toney is the wide receiver. And then who are you throwing in the flex? We got to start 2 of these people. Would it be Kenyon Drake, Rondale Moore?
Rondale Moore.
Rondale Moore.
Yeah,
Joe, what about you?
Even with Colt McCoy, I like Rondale Moore.
I'll go Drake and Rondale Moore.
I will go Toney and Drake. So I hope that was helpful. All 3 of us.
Oh, wait.
Different combinations
I forgot
of
Toney
the
was
same
there.
2 players.
Toney. I'm going to go Toney and Drake too.
Toney and Drake.
Damn.
And then Joey going with Toney and Rondale Moore. It's close between Moore and Drake. Or did you say Drake as well, Joey?
Nope. I said Moore.
Moore. Cool. Just wanted to make sure. Tyson in here had a question for us. Taysom Hill or Greg Dulcich? Dulcich.
Yeah, easy Dulcich. Drop Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill is good luck trying to predict when he's going to do it. And it's a losing game if you try.
He'll do it again. He'll do it again this year, I bet.
He will.
We'll have 1 or 2 more big Taysom Hill games. I'm just not playing that game. I'm going to start the guy who's getting the steady targets. Dolphin in here saying Hill is a siren. Yeah, just luring us to our fantasy deaths. Just on the island singing away, and we all swim towards it to get those tight end points.
The visual, man. The visual of that is so perfect. Just Taysom Hill on a sea rock as seawater splashing on him, and he's just flapping his tail.
That's
it's
my
still
buddy
his
Greg.
voice though.
Yeah, totally hurdled the guy. I just run up the middle every time. They never see it coming.
Oh, Dolphin, you cracked me up with that one, my man. Kenny in here had a question for us. It's start 1 full PPR, Devonta Smith or George Pickens. And they did let us know they're also starting A.J. Brown, if that affects your decision at all to put Smith in there. Joey, where are you rolling?
Yeah, it's Devonta Smith. I don't like this whole I'm already starting one guy, what I'm going to start the other. It's Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith for me as well.
Triple Smith. Not as cool as the triple Monty or the triple Pickens, but it's up there. We got a question here from SGV. Wants to know Algier, Warren, or J-Rob in non-PPR. So the battle of the backup backs. We've got Tyler Algier, Jalen Warren, or James Robinson. Joey, which one of these backs would you be plugging in?
Yeah, I've been mentioning all day that I think Cordell Patterson's taking a step back in this running game. That's because of Tyler Algier. I think he's making a step up, and I would start him over both these guys.
Jale, are you agreeing with Joey here, or would you plug in one of the other two backs, Warren or J-Rob?
I'd be interested by James Robinson. I do, between Tyler Algier and Jalen Warren. God, I'm having so much trouble with those two guys' names. A lot of R's in there. Tyler Algier, Jalen Warren. I would go Tyler Algier, and then James Robinson. Or those two guys. James Robinson's got New England. I would go James Robinson over Jalen Warren.
But Algier's at the top of the list for you out of all of those guys. Yeah. Algier's going to be at the top for me as well, SGV. Chris wants to know Cole Kmet or Kyle Pitts. So now a Kyle Pitts question where we go up the lineup a little bit. It's Cole Kmet for you, JL?
Yeah. This is a sweet matchup for Chicago. I've already talked about it a bunch of times today, but this is a good week before the Chicago Bears have a shitty schedule. Just terrible. It gets really bad. But this week, Atlanta, very good matchup for him.
Joey, Pitts or Kmet?
Oh, it's Cole Kmet. They removed that prop bet for a reason, folks. Cole Kmet's going to go off today.
Are we going to get 3 weeks in a row with 2 touchdowns from Cole Kmet? Do we get the third one?
Ooh.
I don't want to say no, but I believe no. So I don't know what to do.
Could be.
I'm afraid to say no, but I believe it.
I believed no last week, and look how that ended up.
I don't think you will. Is going to be a top 8 tight end this week. I don't think he's going to be like top 3.
We got Timmy Lawrence in here. I think Trevor Lawrence's younger brother, Timmy Lawrence, has a question. Wants to know Henderson or McKinnon. Tough week with both ETN and Kenneth Walker out. So needs to start Darrell Henderson or Jerick McKinnon. Joey, which one of these players would you be starting?
It'll be Jerick McKinnon.
Yep, it's going to be McKinnon for me as well. He's got that third down role pretty much locked up in that Kansas City offense. So you're going to get some points out of him. Joe, you agree?
High scoring game. Chargers are not good against the run. I'd go Jerick McKinnon over Darrell Henderson, who's playing New Orleans, middle of the pack matchup there. But Rams they're struggling. And I think this Rams Saints game is going to be close and not high scoring. So
I do think Darrell Henderson's the best running back in Los Angeles, though.
I agree. It's not a very hard buy.
Suck it, Cam Akers.
Yeah, I just want to chance poop on Cam Akers again. It just feels so good every time.
Brian in here had a trade question for us. Wanted to know Isaiah Pacheco for George Pickens. Which side would you prefer? When I look at this, like in a vacuum, give me Isaiah Pacheco, but I think this is a pretty fair trade. Like I think this is reasonable. So if you need a wide receiver, I'm fine with the Pickens side. If you need a running back, I'm on the Pacheco side, but in a vacuum, I prefer Pacheco over Pickens rest of the season. What about you, John Luke?
For Pickens, but they're close enough that it would come down to positional need.
Joey?
Yeah, while vacuuming, I would prefer Pickens as well. But if you need the running back, I like Pacheco side.
Trevor in here. Trevor wanted to know, where did that question go?
I know, but we got a super chat.
We did. Up.
Yeah, I'll find that question in a second. Kyle in here had a question for us. With that super chat, thank you so much, Kyle, for coming in.
Thanks, Kyle.
Said Isaiah Pacheco or Elijah Mitchell this week. Joey, is it going to be Pacheco, who looks like he took that starting job from CEH for the Chiefs, or is it going to be Elijah Mitchell, who got more work than we expected when he came back?
Yeah, it's going to be Pacheco for me. JL's mentioned it a few times today. The Chargers are not good against stopping the run. So I really like Pacheco a lot today.
JL, is it going to be Pacheco over Elijah Mitchell for you as well?
Yeah, it is. It is. This is very close, though. But I'll take that high scoring or projected to be a high scoring game.
Ooh, that's a Sunday night game, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
Whew, that's gonna be a fun one.
I'm excited. I love when did it get flexed?
Yeah,
what was originally in that
it was
spot?
A Bengals game. It was supposed to be at the night game.
Get out of here, Bengals. We want to see the Chiefs and Chargers.
Sorry, Super Bowl.
Bengals. I found Trevor's question in here. Trevor said David Montgomery or James Conner. So, Joey, David Montgomery or James Conner? Which one of those players would you be plugging in?
You guys are not going to believe me when I say this. They're back to back in my rankings. Actually, no, they're not, because I moved David Montgomery ahead of Tony Pollard. It's David Montgomery.
Joe, what about you?
Yeah, David Montgomery for me as well.
I'm making JL laugh today, guys. I'm doing my job.
You're getting them. It's a triple David Montgomery here. Yeah. Another triple Monty. Cohen wanted to know Van Jefferson or Curtis Samuel. This is going to be Curtis Samuel for me. What about you, Joey?
Yeah, it's Curtis Samuel for me as well. I mentioned that I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Van Jefferson. My interest doesn't allow me to start him over Curtis Samuel, though.
What about you, JL?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Curtis Samuel going against Houston.
Chris wanted to know which wide receiver should I start? Josh Palmer, Jarvis Landry, or Donovan Peoples-Jones? So Josh Palmer in that high scoring game. That's a good man. It comes down to between Josh Palmer and DPJ for me between these two plays. Like Josh Palmer has the better matchup, the better game script, but this Browns Bills game is expected to be relatively high scoring as well. But that Bills defense is much better than the Chiefs defense. I think I rolled DPJ, but it's very close between Palmer and DPJ. I'll put DPJ out there. What about you, Joey?
It's DPJ for me.
JL?
I didn't remember the other names you said because he's
Palmer,
talked about Palmer, DPJ a lot, but I would DPJ over them, over Palmer.
And what about over Jarvis Landry? Yeah.
Oh man, Landry is a menace this week. He's hard to project this week. I'm not starting him over either of those guys though.
DPJ on top there. Carter wanted to know Gabe Davis or Kadarius Toney. So John Luke, Gabe Davis or Kadarius Toney, who would you be plugging in?
I'd be going Kadarius Toney actually here.
What about you, Joey?
Yeah, it's going to be Gabe Davis for me against that Cleveland defense. I like I've said today, I've liked Kadarius Toney a lot. But you know, Gabe Davis just has that upside that it's hard to pass against Cleveland.
It's tough. That's a close one. I think I lean Gabe Davis, but I'm tempted. All these Kadarius Toney questions, every single one, I just want to scream Toney at the top of my lungs, but I can't every time. Swamp in here had a question for us. Swamp said, pick two, full PPR, Jacoby Myers, Garrett Wilson, Devin Duvernay, and Van Jefferson. He needs to start two of those players. So again, Jacoby Myers, Garrett Wilson, Devin Duvernay.